All right. Hello and welcome. I want to welcome Old Man Bird. Hello.
Aren't you going to chop your wood? The video?
Well, StreamYard has let me just turn on the camera there. Hello. Hi, Anti-Derivative Jill. Thank you for joining me. I cannot do the intro video is not automatic anymore, so I have to do it manually because I'm not a paid user of StreamYards. And so they've taken that feature away.
Oh, I see. I didn't know. Okay.
Yes, my membership for StreamYards just ended a little while ago, and so now I have to manually do this. So there we go. And hello and welcome, everyone. I want to say hello and welcome to Anti-Derivative Jill. Hopefully you can hear us.
Yes, hopefully you can hear us. Thank you for playing the video.
Yeah, no, I should be doing it. I'm going to do it manually every stream now because it doesn't do it automatically. But hello, Old Man Bird. And yes, Snortapoopus Cuber was here earlier, and he will be asleep by now, he says. Have fun, every human, he says. I said, well, thank you very much for being here, Snortapoopus, earlier. It's good to have you here. And Old Man Bird in the chat says, hail, friendly Canadian Spider-Man. Happy and sad you're back at work. Well, yeah, I'm happy to be working. It's a necessary thing. I have to pay off Mexico. And it's a necessary evil, but it needs to be done. And the people I was
working
off
Mexico, and you've got to pay for the next trip.
Exactly, to Greece. I would like to go to Greece this year, Jill. You're absolutely right. And here's a very good friend of ours who's well familiar with the Bonfire scene. Hello, LDG, free the net.
Hi, LDG.
If you would, I'm going to put the link in the chat, which I know you're never supposed to do, but I'm going to do it anyway, so that if anyone wants
it's your channel, you do what you want.
You do what you want. It's not like you're not going to get me demonetized, that's for sure. So, Jill, I spent a lot of the day working in a landscaping environment, and it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of productive gardening done, a lot of things planted. How's right now is springtime in Canada?
In Texas, yes.
It's just now early enough to start the gardens. Yeah. So how about where you are?
It's basically summer here now, but yeah, we can do gardening too at this point. And well, I don't know. I think we have some plans, but I don't know what we're doing yet.
Well, that's it. Because we have such a short growing season here in Canada, we have to start immediately and get right on it. And so that's exactly what I was doing today. And I want to welcome a good friend of ours. Hello, LDG.
Hey, everybody. Hi. How's it going, man? Long time. Been a minute.
It is. It has been a long time, man. And I keep recommending people to go over to your channel. And a friend of mine, Mickey from England, might be popping into your chat. I'm glad to see you. Thank you for being here. And I want to welcome Kronos. Hi.
Appreciate it.
And Kronos says, what is an LDG? It's an N. Kronos, you need an N in there. And LDG. What is an LDG? What do you think, LDG? How would you answer that?
No, I don't even know. I think it's something that even, Area 51 needs to figure out first, maybe. Some more experiments and some conclusions. I don't even know what I am, for God's sakes, let alone anybody else.
And hi, yes, William Shakespeare. I was working and I didn't have my phone with me. My phone was in the house all day and I couldn't reschedule. So we're a little bit delayed tonight. William Shakespeare. Do you mind reading this, Jill, please?
Well, look who's here. Finally, Bonfire is better at night anyway. Time to grab a beer.
Night. It is better at night. Agreed.
Sounds good.
I agree with that.
Sounds good. As long as nobody falls asleep in the middle of negative 30-degree weather and have the entire community worrying if they're still alive. As long as that's not happening, we're fine. Yeah, totally.
Man, I will never, ever, I can't thank you enough, LDG. That was
all I did was hack your webcam, dude, so I can get an extra inch. So I get an extra inch just to confirm you weren't underneath the dock. That's all I did, man.
And you did get to see the dog, Nipper. The neighbor's dog came by, so that was good.
We got to see the cops. We got to see the planks. Yeah, where you were.
Yeah. Hello, Sashi.
Like that was literally like an all points bulletin. You had the entire chat worried the hell out of
Dude,
you. Like I remember that night, dude. Like I couldn't even go to sleep. I couldn't even sleep. I'm like, holy shit. This YouTuber might be freezing naked. Well, not naked, but close to it.
Wasn't. Well, although it wouldn't be the first time. Jedi Master says, "Hi, Jill."
Hi, Jedi Master. Yes, I do remember that night. Also, I was scared when you hit your head and started screaming.
I did. Well, I was shouting over to the house is quite a ways away over there. The neighbor, though. But yeah, and they didn't hear me anyway. But yeah, it hit my head, and it was not good. But everything turned out in the end. So, going to bed, night all, says Jedi Master, and Chronos says anti-derivative Spartacus.
He'll never let me forget about the time I changed my channel name for Doomcock for Solidarity. I don't even remember what it was now, but
something about Spartacus. Yeah,
something.
We all did.
We all did. But I did it twice, and so I was stuck with that name for 2 weeks.
That's true.
And good night to Jedi Master 2022 Lost in Space and Classic Sci-Fi. I will be streaming with him tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time about Lost in Space. Funny enough.
Beautiful. Greetings, Sashi. Sashi's coming to us from Indonesia, so happy to have you here. And no, I'm not tired at all. I'm doing pretty good. It was a productive day. And LDG is a hacker confirmed. Yes, I think that we knew that. Yeah. And hey, DJ Play Nice, the man with the best radio voice. DJ Play Nice, Molecular Arts. Yo. So, anti-derivative and Comic Relief Crusader. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. You had an excellent show on Friday. Tomorrow we hopefully change our country. Yes, Mike is also Canadian. LDG, do you know what's happening in Canada tomorrow?
No, I don't.
Or leave, yes. So Mike, the Comic Relief Crusader, says tomorrow we hopefully change our country or leave. And yes, that is a real thing. Happening? Many Canadians are talking. We have an election tomorrow.
Okay.
And we're choosing between to continue with the Liberal Party that's been running us with under Trudeau for the last 10 years or more, basically spending a lot of money. And so either we choose tomorrow to keep spending a lot of money, or we choose the Conservatives tomorrow, and they want to stop spending money and start producing oil and natural gas and energy and make closer alliances with the United States. So that's our choice, and that happens tomorrow. Sorry?
I'm saying I think that's a smart move. I don't know exactly, but it seems like Trump is like really paving the road right now. I don't know exactly what is the better decision, but since that I'm part Canadian, I'm not pure Canadian, but I'm part Canadian.
Yep. Yes.
I would like to see a solution that benefits both.
Hi, Suzanne, another Canadian. Well, I think we need to get our finances in order. That is for darn sure. And hello, DJ Playnarts. Good to see you. And you know what? We have a financial wizard who you're both familiar with, who's going to join us right now. Let's add to the stage. Alf, hi.
Financial wizard.
Hey.
Alf knows about economics.
Alf, you're a financial genius. Is that not true?
Give me a second. Hold on.
Or else maybe Tony is. I like Tony.
Oh dear. Oh shoot.
Now I'm a genius. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Those are rookie numbers. Rookie numbers. Pump them up. Pump them up. Rookie numbers.
Memories.
Alf, have you lived in the United States long enough are you a registered voter now?
I am a legal alien. not to be confused with a lot of people that think I'm an illegal alien, Mexican Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm perfectly fine. And I am registered to vote. I vote Republican.
Oh no, this is Comic Relief Crusader. This is a political show. On my channel, we are not monetized, so we can talk politics, and that is indeed.
Nice.
I studied politics a bit in school. I followed it all my life, and I have volunteered in the political, for elections before. So no, we can
Very good.
definitely talk politics, and because
Awesome.
we're all adults here, and
Yeah,
we
and
won't-
that's actually why Scotty R37 isn't here. He's actually getting paid for it, but he's working for the election
right.
tomorrow.
And
So
Sashi,
you guys are having your election tomorrow, huh?
we are
Huh.
indeed. That's why we're having a
Well,
stream
guess
and a
we gotta bust
bonfire
these
tonight.
puppies out. Cheers.
Might as well. Yes. and I, you know what, Sashi, you have said this, and I've made the mistake more than once, and I do apologize. I keep saying Indonesia, and it is Malaysia. Although you're not far off. They've tried to take us over once in the 60s. They failed, and we just went on with our lives. Yes, the communists, you mean? Yeah, that's the. See, now, unfortunately, sadly, our leaders admire the communists. Our political leaders have as much said so. No, that's okay. Comic Relief Crusader, you are all good. And Old Man Bird in the chat says, "Hi, Suzanne. Watch out where you drop those octaves, DJ Play Nice." You know what? He does have a great voice for radio. Oil is good, says Kronos.
He did. Imagine if
I got a
DJ
good
Play
face for
had
TV.
a condenser microphone. That would be amazing.
Which is my best side?
That's it right there.
Would you fuck?
That's it. That's it. Depending on how much whiskey. Alf, do you mind reading this from our friend Suzanne, who's also Canadian?
Spider-Man. I was just on a panel where the host caught them taking boxes of ballots at home, looking corrupt. Say it ain't so.
Uh-oh. That happens. So as I was just explaining, LDG, just before we went live, I was talking to Jill off camera just before the stream, and I just learned this little tidbit. So this is interesting. In our government passed a law that did not go through Parliament. It just happened this year. It was a prime ministerial directive. In 10 years, in 2035, it will no longer be legal to sell gasoline or diesel cars new in Canada. We didn't even vote on that. They just passed that law without it going through Parliament, without any say from the Canadian people. As of 2035, dealerships in Canada will not be able to sell gasoline or diesel cars.
Well, I think we're going to put the beer away and bust out the bourbon.
Right? Like, we didn't vote on that. Does that sound like a democracy to you, anti-derivative Jill? Not to put you on the spot.
Of course not. No, this is I thought it was terrible when people decided we couldn't buy light bulbs anymore. So
right.
This is way worse. This is how people make their money. They're removing their capability to make a living. And
well, I sent Thetazord the link. I'm hoping he'll show up, Mr.
Absolutely.
That would be wonderful.
So,
well, and the infrastructure that they're going to have to build in order to keep electric cars running at the same rate as gasoline cars is insane.
In winter in Canada?
Well, guys, I should come out and say that I am a member of the Honored League of Stonecutters. We did boycott the electric car for quite some time.
You're the reason why we haven't had it thrust on us until now. But
unfortunately, I did retire. I had to put up the fez and the robe, and
yeah. Now, Alf, you're a fan of hair dryers, right? I recall an episode or two with you using a hair dryer.
This baby, that's all natural.
Well, so get this, Jill and LGG. Maybe you don't know this, but there are times in heavy winter periods in Alberta, which is next door to me here, the province next door. In Alberta, there are warnings saying the electricity grid is running low right now. Please don't plug in your electric cars and don't run your hair dryers. Can you believe that's how fragile our electrical grid is?
It's a sin against fashion.
Right? It is a sin against. You can't use a hair dryer. And now they want us to go switch to electric cars. Like, that's crazy. Like, how many nuclear power plants are we going to have to build? Crazy.
Outrageous.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like another example of how, and it's not just Canada, it's not just the United States, it's every country that I see doing this. They try to nip it in the bud instead of grafting change, graft change
Yes.
that makes us like go from point A to point B to point C instead of like demanding, unilateral change that will ultimately destroy us. You just can't switch.
Pretty much.
Not like it's not like a switch, right? You just can't switch from gas to electric. It's just not feasible whatsoever. But there is a way where you have a vehicle that depends on like a multi-plane vehicle, even for a transitional period. We have a vehicle that's half gas, half electric.
Yeah,
half,
the Prius wasn't
whatever.
bad.
Yeah, and then make it in a good quality, so it doesn't like ball out on us. And give the people the chance to be able to make this transition like smoothly instead of trying to do some kind of hard cutoff. You can't do that. Every
Right.
time, every single hard cutoff has failed, right? Like America, like when we try to do, when we abolished liquor, right? Prohibition, right? Like the hard switch didn't work.
No,
Yeah,
how
the
did that go for
marketing.
you? Yeah,
hard switches don't
exactly.
work. They just,
Comic Relief
they just
Crusader. How
don't.
did that go? No.
Oh.
Market knows when it's time for electric to take over.
Oh shit! Yeah, and you're right. Molecular Arts, net zero equals zero future, and the person running for the Mark Carney running for the Liberal Party tomorrow. He wrote a book a few years ago in 2022, and he was a big promoter of net zero. He honestly, but you know what? He's a big business guy, and he owns shares in companies that produce heat pumps, electric green energy products. Like, it's in his best interest to promote these products. Like, should that be legal to have a prime minister that has vested interests in these things, and then he has the power to legislate things to move in that direction? Like, that's a conflict of interest, isn't it, by definition?
I like big words.
Sorry, Sashi. Alf, do you mind reading this? This is political history right here.
No, the Indonesian, says Sashi, right there, with a little wrench.
Mm-hmm.
The communists were a whole different conflict that went on until the 80s.
Okay.
Isn't it nice to have me here? You don't have to have a little, bouncing ball bouncing around.
No, that's fantastic. True, says Comic Relief Crusader. Our food is good, says Sashi. People keep trying to take us over. Yeah, I believe it. There's not a huge demand in the world for maple syrup, fortunately for Canadians. But when fresh water becomes a problem, well, then now we're... Commie Canada, yes, we are Commie Canada. Yeah, and so the other thing Jill and I were discussing is we have a candidate running for the People's Party of Canada. Her name is Heather Murphy. I believe it's Murphy. And she's running in this federal election. She's running tomorrow, and her bank defunded her. They debanked her the day that she dropped her name to run for office. Her bank shut down her bank accounts. It was on the news. She was telling us all about it. Her credit cards, everything was shut down. No reason given. She had to talk to 3 or 4 different people at the bank. They finally gave her an answer saying, the government told us to do it. I'm sorry, what? The government told them, the bank, to shut down all of her accounts. Coincidentally, the day that she decided to run for office for the People's Party of Canada. And so fortunately, she saw this. She's been promoting women's rights for years, trying to make women's spaces only for women, regardless of what you identify as. And so she's been under a lot of flack, and so she's been smart enough to set up a bank account in Mexico. So she's in Mexico right now running her campaign from Mexico, and she's got access to money, but the Canadian government shut down all of her financial access Why? With no reason given. The person handling her case for the government is on vacation. So she cannot get any answers until after the election, conveniently. Like, that's election interference to the highest level. Like, and this is Canada. We're not talking about North Korea. That's happening. That's not fake news. That's in Canada today, this election.
Holy!
Yeah, right, real fascinating happening. And what was her name again?
Heather Murphy, I believe. It was Heather Murphy. She's got dark hair. She's probably in her late 30s, early 40s. And yeah, completely defunded. And I forget, I want to say a candidate for, it's either Nova Scotia or Vancouver Island. And yes, I realize those are on the opposite ends of the country, but I've been watching a lot of news lately and I tend to get things a little mixed up. But that she's been debanked, and it's not making the major news. It's not in the news. And Comic Relief Crusader has also heard of this. It is true. Absolutely, it's true. We are not a free country. And thank you, Kronos. Do you mind ruminating on what I just... Well, I'm going to throw some wood on the fire. Do you guys mind just chatting amongst
Well, it sounds like your country is going down the... So, you know, maybe we should probably get you out of there.
Yeah,
Send the Marines!
The closest thing I can think of is the PayPal has blocked people's access to their funds. GoFundMe has done it too. But this is the first I hear of an actual bank doing it in North America anyway.
Oh.
But I'm glad she's able to get. Oh yeah.
No, I was just going to say that maybe there should be an internet bank that's not controlled by any singular centralized government.
You mean Bitcoin?
No. Yes, but no. Well, like a truly decentralized. Bitcoin is just centralized, decentralized. I mean, truly decentralized.
See, now this is your wheelhouse, isn't
like
it?
A Napster bank. It's definitely my wheelhouse. This
is exactly
my category.
What I'm so happy to have you here, because you're exactly the person that knows all about that sort of thing.
Well, I don't know about all about that thing. I'm not exactly a know-it-all, but I mean, I believe that the internet can fix basically anything if it puts its mind together. And we have certain things that try to do that, like Napster and Bitcoin, but they're still technically centralized. They're not completely decentralized. I mean,
right.
I know we're talking about like free speech on platforms, and we have like a platform called Rumble talking about free speech. But if you look at their terms and conditions, they don't even label the word free speech once. They're centralized, decentralized. I want truly decentralized banking. I want anonymous monetization. Like, nobody should care or have any control over who you send money to or who you give money to. And the fact that pisses me off the most is the fact the internet could actually deliver this if somebody just wrote the right code. Unfortunately, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G alphabet freaking controlling everything. So you think, oh yeah, if I want to buy something online, Amazon is the way to go. No, that's not correct. You know, there's better ways of doing this if somebody just puts their head together and create. Like, we can have a new form of credit cards, credit companies, banks, workforce, hiring, dating, education. You know, we can rewrite the rules, make it completely decentralized. And they're like, well, if it's decentralized, it's not regulated. I'm like, bullshit. It's actually regulated by the number one source that needs to regulate it, and that is the people. This is why the one thing in America that I think is solid is that our forefathers made government's job 10 times harder because it made the people's job 10 times easier. The problem, it made the people's job 10 times harder to actually want to do anything. That's the problem. And like, we could have all this change. We could have all this, you know, like seriously good change, but nobody wants to do anything because in order for change to happen, they have to take accountability for themselves, and nobody wants to take accountability for themselves. That's why you see certain demographics ruling the net right now. That's why you see certain demographics ruling Twitter and ruling Facebook and ruling YouTube. The average you and me choose not to use these platforms because of the garbage and scum that are already like, infested on these platforms, and they get
Shit.
benefited, they get paid for it. They get
battery's
they get
supposed to go.
incentives to be on the platforms, and that's what really aggravates the living hell out of me.
Mhm. Well, unless somebody's doing something illegal, no bank should ever have the right to touch your money.
Right?
Thing.
Exactly. And even if to what extent, like how illegal? Like, because sometimes I might want to do illegal things, but I should still have the right to my bank account, depending on what those illegal things are. And who says they're illegal? Some government official?
The government and the public. I mean, this is the problem with that whole saying that everybody's above the law. And I'm like, you know what? Listen, I'm sorry. You can judge me for saying this and having my opinion. That's fine. But like the general public, like people like you and I, have this understanding that nobody's above the law. But in reality, innocent people should always be above the law. If you're innocent, the law bows to you. It's only when you're guilty of
Right.
something that actually, that's when you're not
There you go.
you're not above the law. But no, yeah, the innocent should always be above the law. But today, you have people who do legal scams and turn innocent people into guilty people, and we're guilty. Like we're guilty. Like
Yep.
you can be you could have your life savings ripped off from you, right? You could literally have everything lied, cheated, and stealed and taken away from you, and you're the innocent person. But because of the way the system is, you're guilty,
You're
and
the
you're
guilty
seen as
person.
guilty. You're
Yeah.
guilty. You're done. You're guilty. You deserve what's coming to you. And this goes for this. This is what I'm seeing today. And Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they're not Rumble. I don't care what platform you talk about it. You can't have freedom as a business, right? You can't have free speech as a business, because the business always comes first, and you're gonna find this lying. And I keep coming back to America, and I'm sorry, because I am in America, but the American dream can be easily won by lying, cheating, and stealing. If you're not lying, and even the good people are doing it, like even the good people that don't want to be bad understand that the system works this way. So you can moralize it, you can try to quantify it, but you do know that you get ahead if you play the game. And playing the game doesn't mean being nice guys finish last. Period. End of story. People who lie, cheat, and steal get ahead, in the system benefits that. And it's time that somebody comes out with a system that levels the playing field and lets honest people actually shine. Because you know what? There's nothing better than a true democracy. And you mentioned earlier about democracy, and I'm like, I haven't seen a true democracy yet. All I'm seeing is a one-sided, capitalism. I'm not seeing capitalism. I'm seeing one-sided capitalism. I'm not seeing democracy. I'm seeing one-sided democracy. I'm not seeing true democracy. But maybe that was the way maybe that's the way they were able to get by back in the 1890s or whatever, 19 earlies. But today with the internet is allowed to break the game. We can break the rules. We can take things to the next level, but nobody wants to do it. Why? Because those who tried to do it back in the 90s failed to those companies who are doing it right now online. That's why you have Amazon and Facebook, Twitter. That's why you have Uber Eats. That's why you have to pay double.
Bingo.
You want a $15 lunch? Well, guess what? Through Uber Eats, it's $35 now.
Tiger Stripes in the chat says it's a little bit later on in the chat than where you are now, Spidey, but she says something. There are no true democracies. I'm so grateful that we are a constitutional republic instead of a, quote, true democracy.
I agree with that.
We are a republic.
That has been, and I'm sorry if I'm continuing here for a moment, but that's a point that I want to talk about. Reasonable people have brought that argument up, but the internet has destroyed that. We can actually have a true democracy now. Maybe that's the way it was back in paper and pen, but with the digital world and the internet, the way apps work and phones, and everybody has a cell phone today, it doesn't have to be that way now.
Right.
Okay. So yes. I get that the Constitution of America was made over 200 years ago, and they had to bow down They didn't know what the internet was. They didn't get computers or technology. But I'm telling you, today we can rewrite what it means that we can have that true democracy today. And this is something that I talk about democracy, right? Just like when you were a kid, they used to tell you there's a time and place for everything, right? There's always a time and place for everything. Well, guess what? There's a time and place for true democracy. And now that we have the internet, we can actually exercise true democracy and show how much power it has at the bottom of the pyramid. You know, that the ground up instead of the top down, which is basically what we live at right now. Right? 30 years ago, the phrase was "squeaky wheel gets the oil." So for those who are young, you might not know what I'm talking about, but those who are like 35 or older, squeaky wheel gets the oil. But today, squeaky wheel just gets replaced.
That's the easier way to do it.
They don't care. They don't care.
Play the
You
right-hand
could be
guitar.
righteous. You could be completely mistreated. You could have all the proof and everything in on your side. They don't care because they know there's a million other people that replace you in a heartbeat, and they'll pay their life savings to give to you. The squeaky wheel gets replaced today. It's time that changes. We can't have a society that's based on, literally corporations being more powerful than the government. This is why I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said, you know what the big difference between the UK and America is? In the UK, the government's bigger than corporations. In America, corporations are bigger than the government. That's the huge difference.
Why are you saying the squeaky wheel gets replaced versus getting the oil?
Well, okay. So again, you'd have to experience it and live in the day where if you had a strong customer service representative and said, listen, I was mistreated and this, that, and the other, the company would go above and beyond and say, we can give you discounts, we can give you extra service, we can make sure we make this right. But today we have corporations that literally take away the power of their customer service representatives, and they say, listen, whatever doesn't come up on this computer, you cannot say. Right? They literally tell their customer service people, you can't do shit. You can't give refunds. You can't give discounts. You can't give extra rebates or extra service. You answer to whatever this computer tells you to do, and then you end up with honest people that say, hey, listen, I just bought your service, and XYZ is wrong. And they'll just basically say, sorry, see our terms of service that says we're right, you're wrong, subject to any change, and we're not going to give you jack shit. And they know for a fact that person's going to be like, well, I'm shit out of luck, and they'll get replaced by somebody else who's willing to pay their money and not complain and not step out of line. I've seen this personally for myself, and I'm sure there's many people who have seen this in some form or fashion themselves, where they deal with a new company, and every turn that they're mistreated, the company just blames them and expects them to suck it up and take the loss, whether that's paying extra for services or biting the costs for a warranty. Like I was telling you, know what, AJ, you and I had this conversation before, right? Back in the day, things used to last a lot longer. I have to sit here and go to Target, buy a toaster, and know for a fact that toaster is going to break in 6 months.
I had my toaster for 20 years, so I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
You are lucky. You are lucky. Okay,
not the prettiest thing, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, I bought 3 toasters in the past 5 years, and that's just a toaster. Like the value for the dollar.
Hey, wait a minute, guys. Suzanne's got to leave. Says goodbye. Later.
Oh, wait, there's some break in the prologue. Oh,
no, I was just breaking it, so Suzanne's going to bed.
Oh.
Good night, Suzanne. Thank you for being here. When you wake up, we might have another government. We'll see. Want another Canucks party? Absolutely. Come on board, CRC. Right there. There you go. Yeah, we were. Alf is a snoozing. That is correct, Kronos.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought I was listening to an audiobook on my Tinder here. On Kindle. Yeah.
Tinder has audiobooks. What?
Now,
what's an audiobook?
He corrected himself to Kindle, but I heard what I heard.
Well,
at
I mean,
first.
I did just wake back up from a nap.
Kindle is so millennial.
Oh,
Must be why I love it. Well, I loved it until a few months ago
definitely
when they
not
turned
Gen
it off.
Z.
You go on
Here
and
we
on and
You
on about what toasters you got, and you'll only give me a one-liner about being a millennial? You know what? I got something for you. And another.
and
I like
hello,
streamers who are
PvP.
prepared.
I want
Me
to say
too,
hello.
PvP. Me too.
Welcome, Herc
Hey,
130. Good to see you. I hope everything is all right with you, PvP. And
We're afraid about different things.
definitely, I think so. And the lovely Sherry is here. Or is it Sherry or Sherry? Is it Sherry?
Sherry, Sherry, baby.
And I want to welcome to the hello panel, Comic Relief Crusader. Welcome to you, sir.
Hi, Mike.
What's up, dude?
Yo.
Good to
How
see
you
you.
doing?
We've got a little bit of a bonfire going here. I'm just going to add some wood. Do you mind chatting amongst yourself with the alien? There's only one alien.
Well, but
yeah,
there's also a robot in the chat named Kronos who says I
I'm
don't have a
illegal.
toaster.
He's a slug. He's a robot now? I thought he was a
I thought
slug
he was
still.
a robot.
Shit.
Is he a slug?
He's a
I got it
robotic
wrong.
slug?
I'm
Well,
legal.
I thought he
Yes.
was a robot, you know, from Black Hole, right?
I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
The lovely Sherry says that Alf needs a Xanax.
No, I don't. I tell you
Yeah,
what, I need to
exactly.
wake up here. Hold on.
Oh, jeez. Oh, shit.
Yeah, so big election tomorrow. Oh boy, this is gonna
Well,
be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pleasant Valley Picker says that he is worried about his election tomorrow. He's afraid.
Yeah,
Power Snooze.
and a lot of people should be, I think. Oh my god, because this country cannot take another X amount of years from a certain lefty party.
What about an X amount of
So
beer?
put me in your shoes, Spidey and CRC. If I were to walk into the election booth tomorrow, even though I can't, I'm not Canadian, what would I see on the ballot? What are you voting for exactly or against? You said conservative versus liberal or something, but
Pretty much.
Same old.
Democrats versus Republicans, basically.
what does that mean exactly? Just,
Garbage.
oh, I'm a conservative or I'm a liberal? That's it?
So tired of that same argument.
Yeah.
It is. That's pretty simple, I suppose.
Basically, one, my understanding, and Comic Relief Crusader, please correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is one, it's the election tomorrow is between two basic political parties, one of which wants to go completely towards green energy as fast as possible at all costs, and no more drilling, and keep 80% of our minerals and oil in the ground forever, and very much advance the whole LGBTQ rights forward. The other party basically wants to do the opposite of that, and start producing oil and start really producing energy and shutting down our immigration and sort of reconsolidating, I guess, our culture and closing down the border for a little while. So that's the choices we have tomorrow. So it's going to be it's going to be the most important election, I think, of my. I'm 53. I think it's the biggest election of my lifetime. Anyway, I would say.
So let me understand this real quick. So the choice is either let's go for a goal in which it requires the entire world to be in sync with,
Correct.
whether or not we use our resources or don't use our resources, even with the fact staring in our faces that the universe itself recycles resources. In order to do that, we have to work as a united front and not as individual countries, or whether or not we're going to break the rules and do things our way, and which will basically lead to our own destruction, because the only way to become a level 1 civilization is to work as a united
Together.
front.
Working together, just like Star Trek and just like the Melmekians do, I'm sure.
Oh, what? Whoa, my
I
turn to
mean,
talk?
obviously we have to
Nope.
use resources like that. Like not using resources is not an option. Like we have to burn wood to get fire. Like
Mhm.
there's no scientific, like we have to use resources. It's how we use them that matters.
Right.
Whether or not we're actually recycling. Like I'm in America right now and we have recycling. I don't know if you guys
Hello.
have recycling, but we have
Yeah.
literally separate bins for recycling and trash. Yet 60% of the Americans
Left.
throw plastics in the trash bin.
We should be burning. Can't we at least, at the very least, be burning the plastics to produce heat?
Left.
Well, I
Oh,
don't know
she's
about
the
that
cuties.
particular
Like,
fact,
right.
but I'm just saying it's like we got people who don't even put plastics in the recycling bin. They put them in the burning bin, and they put other.
No, maybe they don't believe it actually goes to be recycled, which is the case here. And Pleasant Valley Pickers, yeah, they say the Liberals will get a majority, but that's mainstream media who gets their funding from the Liberals. So yeah, of course they're gonna say that.
Yeah, they're
Ooh.
trying. Yeah, they're definitely trying to demoralize the opposition.
I think so. Oh, and it's working. The dirty pool, Mike, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the dirty pool that's been going on in our elections is unprecedented with the media spin. It's crazy. But I would like to read this from our musically talented friend DJ Play Nice. And I believe him when he says tiger stripes were left-handed, I'm assuming he's referring to. Were Dwayne Allman from the Allman Brothers, Steve Morris, don't know that name, Eric Clapton, hell yeah, Eric Clapton is God, Mark Knopfler from Greats, Gary Moore, I don't know Gary Moore, and Billy Corgan have flipped too. Allman just learned to play right-handed. Wow. Do anyone older than 14, do you know who these people are? Steve Morse? Anyone? Oh, Comic Relief Crusader, hello. Okay then.
Oh man, that felt great. Oh man.
Oh dear.
You have no idea how hard it is to get rid of a turtle head that thick. Oh, what I miss?
No, we're talking about the black hole.
Imagine.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anybody hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Wee bit.
Oh, okay.
You are a bit low, but we can hear you fine.
Here's the yeah. Sorry, because I'm using this on my phone. I'm not at my desktop. Spidey essentially has it right. It is essentially between two parties, right? Because here in Canada, we got the Liberals, we got the NDP, which is essentially a communist party, right? We have the Green Party. Yeah, we have the Green Party. We have the Bloc Québécois, which is just solely in Quebec anyway, right? And all of them essentially hate the Conservatives. However, on the right side of things, we got, the Conservative Party, and then we also have the People's Party of Canada, right? What they call the Purple Party up here. So, which is actually more conservative than the actual Conservatives. So,
yes.
So right now, at this point, it's really a numbers game. And the problem is that if anybody remembers what Trump said, that he would rather deal with a liberal Canadian government than a conservative one. It's not because he's how should I put it? That he wants to cozy up to a liberal government. It only means because he knows he's going to trample over them when they try to negotiate.
Exactly.
Right. And the thing is, Polyev, which, if he does get in, he's going to fight for essentially everything allegedly Canadian, right?
I hope
Comes to,
so.
like resources.
Allegedly.
And, allegedly,
Hey, PvP.
right? Because he
Hey guys,
is technically
I
part
just
of the
turn that sound off. I don't want to get the echo.
Hey, PvP.
Yeah, I totally get what you're
Well, wait a
saying.
minute. PvP. Comic Relief Crusader was in the middle of speaking.
Yeah,
No,
please
no.
finish.
Go for it. Go for it. I'll shut the
here,
fuck
Brady,
up.
I'm gonna go
But
back to
here's-
bed for a little bit.
But here's the thing, also, right? You know, going back to what Spidey had said about what's going on in Alberta as well, right? Is
Mhm.
that pretty
Right.
much Western Canada has had it for about 60 years of being the doormat, especially Alberta, of being the piggy bank for the rest of Canada. And from what Danielle Smith said, is that she has a bunch of demands for Ottawa, whoever gets in. And if they don't meet those demands, okay, fine. We'll have a referendum. And from the looks of it, Saskatchewan wants in, and probably Manitoba
I think so.
wants in.
I
I'm not
wish
sure about
BC would
but you
join
never
that
know, right?
because I'm going to move to Alberta and vote for 51st state. If
I will too.
if the fucking liberals get, I mean, okay. I just gotta say, I think the polls are bullshit. I think the polls are CBC, CTV lies. I still think that the Conservatives are going to win with a majority, hopefully tomorrow. I really, in my heart, hope for that.
I think they will. I think they will. And hey, Tommy.
Hey there, Tommy.
I gotta say though, Spidey, I'm very frightened. I think my country could be over tomorrow.
Well, then you know what? We can share the expense on moving vans to Texas.
Yeah,
I don't want
everybody's
to move
moving
to
to Texas.
Texas,
All
but
cool people live there. We got, Jill lives there.
I'm seriously.
Megazord lives there.
Oh yeah,
I know a
Sean.
lot of
BC has a
people-
Ford base there.
Raquel
I know a
SSD.
lot of folks find this amusing.
Raquel
Everybody lives there.
SD. Yep, that's right.
This may be
Enzo
amusing.
lives there.
Comic
Yes.
Relief Crusader, are you eating or something? What's that sound?
That's probably my crappy phone.
Oh, okay, just checking.
AOL.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
gonna
we just
say-
got confirmation that you are indeed using a 56K modem. Got anything, Fester?
I just want to, if I could finish my thought. Thank you. I just want to say,
Oh,
a
dear
lot
Lord.
of people
Don't
think
do
this
that.
is a joke. A lot of people think this is funny. As a Canadian that's going to be 67 in a couple of weeks, this is not a fucking joke, and I'm not laughing.
No.
I
not.
don't want to see my country destroyed tomorrow. I really don't. And it's that this is the most crucial election, and I've voted since the 70s. This is the most crucial election I voted in for all those decades. This will determine if Canada can become a sovereign country with a great prime minister in Pierre, or if we got 4 more years of corrupt, globalist, Chinese-influenced bullshit that we're going to get under Carney. And you know
Yes.
why Trump loved Carney? Because Trump loves people that will get on their knees and give Trump what he wants, right? And that's exactly what Carney's going to do. So
Spider-Man.
I am very upset. I'm very, very concerned. I voted conservative last
DJ
weekend.
Playnice is in the
I
back.
think millions of other
Yes.
Canadians have too. I think the media and the polls are bullshit and lies. I still think the Conservatives could get a landslide.
I think they will.
I'm really hoping, Spidey.
I think they will, man. And
I-
yes,
Well,
hello.
here's the
I'm
thing
praying.
also.
I'm praying hard because.
I think we might have someone in the backstage.
Yeah,
Have
we
you
do.
checked
Yeah,
out
yeah.
what?
I was trying to whisper it to Spidey.
That's fine. Listen, I do got to go, guys. So it is late. Got to go to bed. Always a pleasure.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much for having me. Y'all take care. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks for your
Later.
input, LDG. See you later.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for
All right.
lulling me to
And
sleep.
if I may,
That was a good nap.
guys, check out
Rude.
Birdo Prey 5 channel tomorrow. We're gonna go live with some new content, guys. So take care. Be good. Love you. Peace.
Love you, man.
Yeah. Well, that'll be good.
Oh, Lord, I'm the
reliving those
monkey in the
memories.
middle.
I was going to ask if you still got your foot up Gorilla's ass, but you know.
What?
There we
Oh,
go. Yeah, I had to step off.
You don't know about that joke with LGG got his foot up girl's ass? Like that's been going on for like a year now. That's
Buddy,
no
I'm living where it's always morning in America. Even
Thanks.
in the evening.
Thanks, Pickles. Thanks for coming. And hey,
Yeah,
DJ,
thank you, buddy.
I want to welcome DJ Play Nice.
Hey,
Hey,
how's it going?
Greetings.
Oh,
You know,
listen to that
one
baritone. If I still had my barbershop quartet.
of
Oh, yeah.
one of the greatest moments when we had Elf on here was Stark of Iron's Elf, and
Hey,
I
Grilla.
still remember that day when Elf was doing. I'm starving. I don't have any cats to eat anymore.
I mean, look at this. Look at this. I'm wasting away. I was
Exactly.
very fat and happy whenever I was live. But then
And I have
Fun of
joked
my
with
life.
other people about this. Sorry, Jill, but I remember when you said he ate too much pussy.
you can never.
Yeah.
And we
Never.
laughed our asses
Never,
off.
Well, it was a
ever,
fact.
never.
You know, Jill, you're famous for that comment. You know that, Jill.
I didn't know that it was going to be so everlasting. I was just
It went
making
viral, Jill.
a well-timed joke.
But you know what, Jill? We all adore you and love you for that comment because you made us laugh so hard, right? So it's not a bad, it's a good thing, Jill. We
Fine with it.
adore you when you
If
said
we
that.
don't dwell on it, yeah, I'm good with it.
Yes.
No, I'm not dwelling on it. It came up
Yes,
on
Kronos.
one of the Gorilla streams like a week ago. And
It's
all had a good laugh.
Kronos in the chat says, "Is there ID in Canada for voting?"
Oh,
And
fuck,
Spidey's saying yes.
oh, fuck.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me talk.
Yes.
Let me talk for a minute.
Yep.
Voting in Canada.
I'm
you
going
get
back to my
a-
Tinder in the bathroom.
If I can I talk for a minute without?
No, you
Wow.
cannot. You're on a live stream and you got to roll with it when people
Yeah,
talk.
I'm trying to roll with it,
And
but you asked
it
the
doesn't-
question: Is
Yeah, it
is
No,
there
what
any-
what do you know about ID?
Fuck me.
PvP? What do you got to say about ID?
Well, first of all, you get your voter's card in the mail from the government, and your voter's card has your name and your address printed on it, right? And it also tells you the voting poll location to go and vote. Mine was like a block away at the Capri Hotel, which was great. So I went there and voted last Sunday. What they do is the Elections Canada people that are working behind the table, they take your voter's card and they ask you for your ID, which is a driver's license, right? So
Mhm.
you've got picture ID with your name and your face on it. So it's pretty unlikely that somebody's going to fake your ID on your face, right? So, yeah. And then they have the voters list on the table. It's printed out, all the names, and they cross your name off with a pen line through the ruler, right?
Yes, correct.
So it's like, triple fucking confirmation, right?
It's pretty secure, I think,
It's very secure. I agree, Spidey.
and it's all on paper. There's no computer tab. It's all paper ballots.
You know what I loved about the federal election, Spidey? There was none of that fucking computer bullshit.
Yes.
It was all on paper. They
Yep.
gave me a little paper ballot that I fucking took behind. You take it behind
That's
the
it.
fucking screen.
That's right.
And this was a new one, Spidey. For the first time, they had a pen to mark your X.
Yes.
Because
Although the
they
paper,
they were worried that people with a pencil could erase it, right?
well, that's because they don't know any better. That's because they don't know that the paper that's used for our ballots is special, and you cannot erase pencil off of that paper.
But I've
It's
never.
a
That was the
special electoral ballot
but
paper.
I just want to say I've been voting since the 70s. I've never seen a pen before.
That's because what I just told you. You can't erase off of that special paper.
But I think they're getting more and more concerned about cheating, right?
Well, they're addressing people's concerns, even if they're unfounded.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I put my X on the conservative lady. She's an incumbent, by the way, so I'm pretty fucking sure she'll win again.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because this area is very, 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 very right wing, right? So
Yeah, a lot of eastern British Columbia, where I live, seems to be very conservative, and and almost like Texas, really. But I mean, there's a lot of guns around here. But when you go to the cities like Vancouver and Victoria, they're all they love the Liberals. I don't know why.
You know, I gotta say though, I did watch some Pierre Poilievre rallies in Victoria and whatnot on the island, and there were thousands of people that
there were
showed up and cheered him on. I got a good feeling that a lot of Vancouver Island might go blue. Scott, Spidey. I got a good feeling about it. I really do.
I think so. I have a fingerprints are good ID, not just no. I don't want fingerprinted at the election.
No. We don't need fingerprints.
No,
we got the voter's card. We got.
But I'm pretty optimistic, and I think the mainstream media is really trying to convince people that the Liberals are going to win. But there's no fucking way. Pierre Poilievre's rallies are 5 times bigger than the Liberal rallies. How much? And I'm curious. I would like to speak with our American friends. I'd like to go around, starting with DJ Playnice and then Alf and Jill. What have you heard about the Canadian elections? And do you give a flying fuck?
I'm guessing probably not much.
I want to get my friends out of there. So
I don't know about
Jill
a flying.
is gone at the moment, but I want to get you guys out of there. That's where I'm at with it.
We could use a rescue. Let's start with DJ Playnice. What have you heard about the Canadian elections down there?
Well, I don't know about a flying fuck, but at least a walking fuck is what I can give. And I know very little, almost nothing. I've paid far too much attention to my own bullshit here in the States, man. And so I feel bad that I don't know more. And one of the things that I was looking forward to about being on panel and listening to this stream tonight was to become more educated. So the things of the last couple of years, the last few years at least, I paid parallel attention with my own interests to, and then anything that kind of bled over when we were in a down news cycle. Your trucker strike was a really big deal to a lot of other chats that I'm in and other places and spaces.
I actually think that was the turning point, DJ.
For a bunch of it. Right on. Well, I think that was especially for Americans, at least my contemporaries on PvP, they didn't become aware of a lot of those things until it was. And a lot of the reason they became aware of that was because of them being truckers themselves. And so, that brotherhood was strong. And the words were, I hope that you guys were able to hear the support that you were getting from
yes, we did.
During that
the sad thing was I was unaware. I was stupid. I thought the truckers were idiots back then. I really did. And my friends,
when I went to the bathroom,
they were idiots. We really did. We thought they were closed fools. Since I've looked into it over the last couple of years, I realized the truckers were cool, right on, peaceful protesters. And when Trudeau declared the Emergency Act on those people,
Mike,
sent in the police and fucked them over, that was Trudeau becoming a dictator at that point. And that's when I lost all fucking hope for the Liberal government.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's when I started to turn conservative, I gotta say.
There's gerrymandering going on, but fortunately, Sonia White, we still have paper ballots that are counted, and I've actually volunteered in an election, and I've been a scrutineer, and every party can have a representative there scrutinizing every single paper ballot and how it's marked, and they all have to agree. So I am actually fairly confident in our federal elections. Now, Alf, as an extraterrestrial observer, what do you know about the Canadian election coming up here?
I understand that your country is veritably the cat in the oven, and it's already been set to broil. So what you guys really need to do is A, get the hell out of that damn oven, or B, at least hopefully salvage the meal and be a little bit more delicious. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You guys need to get out of there. Canada is going to either be annexed, which it should be annexed by the United States. It would be ideal.
No,
or it is going to become a place that is overrun with poverty, sadness, sorrow, and lack.
It already is.
It already is.
It already is.
Sadly.
For the last
no
9
jobs,
years,
no work, no
creativity,
creativity, socialist state, all for a little bit of
it is a socialist state. And we are living.
You guys need to get the hell out of there And that's
Agreed.
That's my 2 cents on it.
Have any of you Americans listened to Pierre Poilievre's speeches? Because that guy's fucking amazing.
He really is a good orator.
He
And
is
Sashi,
a great orator.
you're forgiven. You are on the other side of the world in
I honestly,
Malaysia.
I don't mean to cut in, Spidey, but I think Pierre is one of the greatest orators I've ever heard. I actually think he could be one of the top 10 prime ministers in history. I really do.
Let's find out. He can't do any worse than what we've had for the last 10 years.
Oh God. Seriously though, Carney is such a weasel. Like,
well, he's a big fan of the World Economic Forum. He's a big fan of, and he wrote a book in 2022 that I was telling Jill about before the stream. And he says he wants to keep. He literally writes it in writing. I want
bookings. I'll be back.
80% of our natural resources in the ground, like 80% of our oil. 80%. So Jill,
and that's where Canada's resources could make us a powerhouse in the economy.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding? And it would make America more secure as well. So, speaking to that, let's speak to one of our very best American friends.
Our very best Americans.
Anti-derivative Jill, what have you heard about the Canadian election?
Yeah.
I know you did say in the private chat you'll be right back, so if you're still away, that's cool too.
Oh, shit.
But I will say,
yeah, she's muted.
A lot of people haven't heard that that we've started making rules just left, right, and center, and apparently in Canada you don't need to pass laws through legislation through Parliament anymore. Like electric vehicles are now mandated as of 2035. That didn't even go through Parliament. So that's oh shoot, Alf had to duck out. All right, well Alf, you've got the link if you want to jump back in. And also some of our politicians are being absolutely run through the mill and with no repercussions. The mainstream media can put out slanderous things and they're not called to account. They're not held to account. So it's pretty
Sorry,
I never thought I'd.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
No, that happens. I never thought I'd see Canada in this place. Oh dear.
Well, I'm going to be 67 in a couple of weeks, and I remember as a kid, a teenager, even in my 20s and 30s, Canada was a wonderful place to live. It was.
It was. Absolutely.
You know, well, let's put it this way:
used to
when I was a kid, my hometown of Vernon was like, you know Mayberry.
Yes,
it was Mayberry.
I agree. My hometown was very similar to that.
Mayberry, and I'm not trying to fuck anybody and bullshit them. It was actually Mayberry. I lived in a perfect little town, you know.
So this is a good question. Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective asks, every bill has a serial number. Every dollar bill, he says, can be tracked. Why can't they do that with ballots? I think I know the answer, but DJ Play Nice or Jill, Jill, are you there? No, DJ Play Nice, do you have an opinion as to why they wouldn't be tracking each of the ballots with a number?
I don't know. I know that
because they can tie your vote to the person, I think, is why.
That would be probably top of the list if that's the real answer to the question, for sure.
That's the only thing I can think of.
There's this like the sacredness of our of voting. I would imagine it's the same for Canadians too. It's you do it in a scrimmed off area. You don't tell people what you're doing. You volunteer if you want to, but most people are not even cool with that. They're like, I don't want to know, man. I mean, amongst friends, that's something else. But we also, and I'm curious about some of the election laws. We might get into that later in the chat. But for instance, there's a limit to how close you can be with signs and signage. So, okay, cool. So you guys have a similar thing up in Canada?
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. We have laws about how you can't even have advertising for different political parties within visual sight of the front entrances of the polling station. So yeah, there's a lot of rules on that. And Alf, do you have an opinion on why wouldn't your voting ballot?
I actually just checked my bookings, and I have another venue.
Oh,
I'm going
you're
to
double
have
booked.
to head out.
Well, thanks for being here.
Hey, no problem. It's part of our promotion for Alf Week over at the channel. Mr. Stark is busy on site working on the drill car and the reactor that we'll be sending down there. So I'm filling in for his guest spots for the entire week to help raise awareness that my channel has even more things about it.
And you need and hopefully you still have a free country to your north tomorrow morning.
I will make sure that the other alien that works with us will sit in a disguise and try to throw the election for your otherwise communist liberal party trying to take over.
Pretty much.
Who you have left.
That's fingers crossed, man.
Fingers crossed. But anyway, thank you guys for having me. And remember, don't run on your sentences too long. You might make people go to bed.
Thanks for being here, Alf. Appreciate it.
Alpha. Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Good night there, buddy.
Broke it. Yes, absolutely.
You know, the only two fingers I have available are middle ones for the Liberal Party.
I agree, 100%.
I just gotta say, I'm not ashamed to say that.
Oh dear. So, Mike, you just sent me stuff in the X chat. What's that all about? Oh dear.
By the way, I posted a couple links in the private if you want to get around to that later.
I did. I saw those. I was wondering what those were.
Well, PvP, we can't share YouTube videos, so
no, I'm not saying watch them live. I'm saying watch them later, Joe.
After the okay, I gotcha. Thank you.
At your leisure when you're relaxing and having a beer or whatever, and you're just like, that's
Broken
good.
Compass Entertainment. You might be a Canadian, I think. Then
Broken Compass. Oh, that's
cool. Jill, do you mind reading this from our friend?
Me laugh.
I've been working on my American citizenship, says Broken Compass, for a couple of months now. I can't wait to get out of here. Good luck, Broken Compass.
But you know, the weird thing was, remember when Trump won the election, Americans said, "Oh fuck, we're going to go to Canada."
I remember this.
Did any of that actually ever happen, though?
I don't.
I think one person did.
Yeah, it was
exactly
a mistake.
Point. Exactly my point, right?
Ooh, nice. Thank you, Old Man Bird. Says, "Hey, little sister, what have you done?"
Wait a minute. No, it wasn't. Ellen DeGeneres went to UK, not even Canada. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm
gonna say.
I'm so glad she went there because we don't want her.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
wait,
we don't.
Wait, what was Old Man Bird saying? I missed it.
Yeah, no, he was saying, "Hey, little sister, what have you done?" Eddie Van Halen said he beloved Steve Stevens playing. Steve Stevens had original sounding stuff. I've never heard of Steve Stevens.
You've not heard of Billy Idol's guitarist?
No.
Oh my God!
Now you have.
Steve Stevens is one of the great guitarists in history. I saw Billy like about 12 years ago live when he was doing the tour on his last album back then. And Steve, well, let's put it this way, Spidey. I don't want to go on, but Steve Stevens was the guy that played the guitar on like his first 3 albums. You know, like Rebel Yell,
okay.
all that classic shit, right? Steve Stevens is incredible. And I saw him about 12 years ago in Kelowna here when Billy played a live concert at the hockey rink, right? And he had Steve back in the band at that point because they reunited after years of being, not together. And holy crap, Steve Stevens was incredible. Like, talking about a guy that can play guitar. And you know what?
Oh,
Spidey?
sorry, PvP. I have to say, Old Man Bird is leaving. He says good night.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
oh no, wait,
Yeah.
he's not leaving.
Oh,
He's not
man.
leaving.
Don't
Okay,
Okay, good.
I thought he was leaving. I
We
thought
love
he was
you,
saying
Bird.
good night, all, but he's saying good night, Alf. I got tricked. on my
Okay,
own
good.
brain.
All. And now,
Thank you,
DJ
Night Owl.
Play Nice says,
Good
anyone
night, Tony.
recognize
His name is Tony. He's playing it.
anyone recognize this guitar
He's holding
player
a
on my
puppet.
icon? Hint, I chose it especially for this chat. Is this a Canadian / American person?
I have no
Canadian.
idea.
Yeah, the guitar is actually a huge clue. It's a signature graphic.
Well, I know it's a Leonardo da Vinci drawing, but I'm lost.
Wrong icon, bro. Check your screen.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know who.
'Cause that's
I don't know who
Vitruvian
that
hand.
is.
Yeah, fuck. I'm sorry. I'm lost.
You're all good, dude. You're all good.
I love. There's so many guitar players I adore that I just lose track. I'm sorry.
That's it.
I lost my train of thought. I was in the middle of something and I forget what I was saying.
We were talking about musicians or some such people.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm fucked.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
absolutely love the chat we have going here. Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, and thanks for being here, Tommy. Says, "Son of a dirty, no good. They unsubbed me again. YouTube drives me nuts. Be sure you're still subscribed." Thank you, Tommy, for saying that. Yeah, they absolutely do unsubscribe people. Absolutely, they do.
I gotta say, I love Tommy's name with the guinea pigs. That's very cool.
And speaking of subscribers, I know Canadian Spider-Man doesn't care about becoming monetized, but he is only 4 subscribers away
That's pretty cool.
from 500.
That's pretty amazing.
Fuck.
And it's only taken
Wow.
4 years. William Shakespeare says, if we tracked ballots, then we couldn't rig elections. Come on now. We can't have any of that. That's true.
Yeah, we can't have any honesty in this globalist world, can we?
No. Okay. And Susan Dolan says, William Shakespeare, he also did the guitar for Beat It, which is the only reason why it got on my MTV when they actually played music videos. Those were the days, which started out just like a rock video channel. I miss MTV and Much Music, the Canadian version.
Much
Absolutely.
Music was great in the 80s, right, Spidey?
And
They
thank
play
you to
rock
whoever
and
just
roll
subscribed.
24 hours a day back then.
And DJ Playnice, do you mind reading this wise advice from Sashi?
Sashi says, over here, we decided to hate all our politicians. We just voted in the least annoying. Not a bad way to go about it.
So I was just, no shit, Kronos. I want my MTV as well. That sounds like a Dire Straits song.
my MTV. Remember that?
Dire
slogan?
Straits.
Yeah. And then Sting came in, right? That was actually a great song, I gotta say.
It really was. It really was. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, Tommy, no, YouTube is never going to monetize me either without deleting half of my live feed.
I'm sorry, Tommy. That's
You know
bummer.
what? I'm amazed I have like 114 subs because I only have playlists.
That's pretty
Like,
good.
what the fuck is that about?
You've
'Cause-
done F-all PvP. I
And
worked really hard for my first 100
Oh,
subscribers.
thank you, Joe, for telling me I did F-ball. Thank you very, very much.
Well,
my
you
friend.
made some really nice playlists, and I guess that's what it is. I was just
I love having a friend told me I did fuck all. That's
But
so nice.
Didn't
Joe.
you just say that? You said you didn't. have
No,
that.
I said I got 114 subs with playlists, and I was going to finish it before Jill interjected and told me I did fuck all. I was going to say, I really don't deserve that because I have done fuck all. But Jill finished my thought for me, so thank you, Jill.
Hey, Lemon Pie is here. Good evening, fruitcakes. You know that's not how you spell fruit, right, Lemon?
Lemon loves to call us fruitcakes.
But he's not spelling it right.
And
Well,
we keep
lemon
teasing-
pie. Maybe he's saying that our fruitcakes are made out of Fruit Loops.
You know what?
I was hoping that was what it was, Jill.
And there's always some of us that tease Lemon with that Led Zeppelin song, the Lemon song.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a good one.
Where Robert Plant's going, Let the juice run down my leg, and we teased Lemon endlessly about that song.
As you should.
And Lemon knows exactly what I'm saying, don't you, Lemon?
So, yeah, let's again. The election and I don't want to go too much longer here. It is getting sort of late, but yeah, the election tomorrow. I don't like the fact that there has been a lot of dirty politics going on. Mainstream media is literally helping the Liberals win. They are outright lying on public broadcasts. CBC, I'm looking at you, lying to the people on public broadcasts, on national TV, on their 10 o'clock news, and then they make it, when they're called out on it and they're corrected and they say, hey, actually, that's not correct, they print a small correction on their website the next day. They don't go on live TV and do another broadcast saying, oh, hey, we lied to you. They all they have to do, they put a small little correction on their website the next day that no one reads. That is election frigging interference. That is dirty pool, and that is happening all across Canada, and that's not even getting reported in the news.
That reminds me of the Vogons who put from Hitchhikers, where they said we are going to build a transgalactic highway, and we had it in the government offices in the corner where nobody is ever going to look for it.
That's right.
But the problem is, Joe, this is not a fantasy TV series. This is the future of our country.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is a lot of things in science fiction, dystopia, and warnings that science fiction has talked about are coming.
Oh, yeah, but I agree. Spidey are corrupt. CBC, CTV, Global, whatever.
And they're funded.
They're also fucking corrupt, right?
75% of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation's budget comes from the Liberal government.
They get 1.5
75% of their budget. How can you be
billion?
That 1.4 billion? Yes, I downloaded their budget on my laptop. I've got it right there. How can you be neutral? How can you be an unbiased source of information about the election if you're getting all of your money from one side?
They are paid shows. They are paid shows.
That's ridiculous. They absolutely are.
That's all they are.
And that's okay. So sorry, DJ. I think maybe you were the one that asked this. The other big thing that Canadians are voting on tomorrow, the Liberals want to keep CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and increase their funding. Well, no shit, because they've been your propaganda arm for the last 10 years. But the Conservatives want to cut all funding from CBC and make them have to go and be like every other business where you get your money from the public. So that's another big difference between the political parties. We're choosing basically tomorrow. We're choosing between government-funded propaganda and a free media. So we're
basically choosing between freedom and totalitarianism.
Pretty much. And I hope that, if we choose the wrong way, maybe the states can come in and rescue us.
As I say, I'm going to be 67 soon, and I've never been more frightened for the future of my country.
Never trust a suit.
That's right. I'm sure that we would, but I hope it doesn't come to that, because that'll be a lot of problems for the people who remain Canadian.
It is.
I might have to move to the States, Joe.
I think a lot of us are looking at that very thing, and you know what? Their GDP is so much better than ours, and I don't mind that. And yes, Lemon Pie, that is one thing about Canadian elections. We should know the results of the election the night of the election.
They usually come in with 4 or 5 hours, right? So
and PvP, as someone that you've grown up in the West Coast, right?
I've lived all my life in BC, pretty much.
So by the time we get to vote, because we don't have that many people on the West, the election is already decided before we even cast our vote, isn't it? Ontario.
It would depend on the Lower Mainland and Vancouver, and maybe
Ontario and Quebec.
The island. It basically comes down to Ontario and Quebec, though, right?
Ontario and Quebec decide who we.
And you know
who
the
we
weirdest thing
vote
is
for.
the block. Did you see that video with the block guy taking? He said crazy shit.
Yeah, I don't understand how they're a federal party. Their whole they only run in the province of Quebec, and their whole thing is they want to separate Quebec from Canada.
Yeah,
like, how are you a national party? Like,
did you see the block guy? He said Canada is a false state. Canada's a state that doesn't actually exist. This guy said this.
I believe
video.
it. Well, he doesn't want. Yeah,
and I actually put in the chat. It's like, well, since Canada's basically he called Canada a non-existent state.
yeah.
And I said, hey, for a non-existent state that I pay taxes in, you get a good paycheck every month and a nice pension on what I pay to you.
That's yep.
This guy was so fucking. This guy, the Bloc Québécois leader,
the Bloc Québécois guy. He's the leader of the Bloc Québécois, and I don't understand how they're a federal party. Their whole platform is they want to separate Quebec from Canada.
Isn't that fun? Trying to
like
figure out
how? Yeah, I don't know. It's a. Can you imagine if in the national election Nebraska wanted to separate from America and they had a national leader that was in the debate? They let him on the stage for the debate, and that's his whole platform: is Nebraska should separate from America, and he's in the federal election. That's crazy.
Our state motto is the good life, and I was kidding 0%, man, 100% serious that if you need a sponsor in the States at any point or just a couch to crash on, I will provide that. There's so many, like all my Canadian friends, and I count you amongst them, are welcome any damn time.
I will take you up on that.
Nebraska's not all that great though. I think you have equal offers in Texas, and at least they have the Gulf. We don't have trees. We don't have water.
I just posted that insane video. If you want
Vogon
to play this asshole later, the guy is fucking insane. I gotta say, you know what I hate is like political leaders in a country should be fairly rational, like not off the rock totally. But listen to this fucking guy later, and he's nuts.
How bad would you say this civil unrest is?
I'm very worried, Joe.
In the West, big time. The West will separate from Canada.
I still see, when the truckers were getting fucked over 4 years ago, and I used to think that was bullshit. I didn't pay attention. I was a moron. Since I've educated myself over the last couple of years,
love that song.
I realized the truckers were very peaceful, good citizens that were just honestly protesting.
They were
a bunch of liberal bullshit. Yep. And then the liberals froze their bank accounts. They put people in jail. Nice. They sent the fucking cops in to beat on people. It was basically that's when Trudeau went dictator.
Mostly peaceful unrest. No, it was completely. It wasn't like the American mostly peaceful riots. No. This was a fully. There was one incident of violence during the whole 3 weeks in that trucker lockdown, and you know what it was? It was a police officer that illegally shot a reporter for Rebel News, Alexa Lavoie, and I saw it happen live. Shot her in the thigh from 6 feet away. You're not even supposed to use that weapon in a crowd at all. It's being taken to court, and lawsuits are prevailing right now. But the only incident involving any kind of violence at all was a police officer shot an unarmed civilian Canadian reporter. That's what happened.
I got to say, I'm very sub to Rebel News because they are awesome.
They are awesome.
And they get fucked over by the mainstream media so much. It's sick.
Well, because the mainstream media is fighting for their lives.
They're fighting for their fucking jobs because they're getting billions of dollars pay, right?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Spidey, I want to roll back. You were saying that the West would be, likely to secede. What provisions are there, if any, for something like secession?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that, because our Canadian Constitution, we've already set that up. If any province votes 50% plus one vote to secede or to separate, there's nothing the rest of the country can do. That province will become independent and they will secede. That's all that is required. And that is set in our constitution a long time ago. Alberta has already looked at that. A lot of Albertans, I don't know if you know what equalization payments are, DJ Play Nice.
Oh,
I don't.
But basically, the rich provinces in Canada are like Alberta and Saskatchewan and are forced to give money to the lesser have-not provinces, basically Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, Ontario. Now, Quebec is a funny instance because Quebec has all the resources under their feet. They just refuse to develop them. They have aluminum, they have natural gas, they have oil, they have all of that, but Quebec refuses to develop them. So they're very much, out of all the electoral districts in Canada and America, out of 62 of them, Quebec is third poorest. PEI is the very poorest. New Brunswick, my home province, is the next poorest, followed by Quebec. Quebec has resources. They just refuse to develop them. And so they want Alberta to send them money for doing nothing. But then they also have a vote. They get most of the vote in Canadian elections saying, Alberta, sorry, you can't develop pipelines, but please keep sending us money.
Well, I think
they want.
that's
weird.
I think Quebec is totally corrupt.
Of course
Yeah, they want the money, but they don't want to allow Alberta to develop in the way that it should grow.
Nobody.
I also want to say, before we talk more about that, I want to say goodbye to Sashi. Sashi is leaving for the night.
Hi, Sashi. Sashi
Good
says,
night.
all right, I have to go. It's starting to rain and I can't hear anything because of how hard it's coming down. Just a regular rainstorm. That is so cool, Sashi.
Oh, stay safe. Stay safe.
See, in the States, we have
Gorilla
no provisions like that, man.
Daniels tomorrow, so I hope he's safe.
Like, I wonder what. Wow, that's just boggling right now. I can't even process fast enough, or I'd hold up the conversation.
Socialism,
like pulling back on the reins,
right?
reins for sure. But like, there's no provision for any of that kind of stuff. That's the Civil War pretty much solved that for the future. It's a state cannot dissolve its relationship with the union. It's indissolvable in that regard.
Oh yeah, we sure can.
I'm actually very afraid because I think there's so many I think there's millions of Canadians like myself that voted Conservative. And if the Liberals get another majority tomorrow, I could see us having a civil war in my country. I could seriously see violence happening in our streets. Not that I want that, but
no.
Do you agree with me, Spidey?
I hope that doesn't.
I think people will rise up.
We'll just head south. I'm not going to fight. I'm just headed south. I'll just head south. That's fine.
But I think a lot of people are going to be out in the streets protesting. I really do.
If there's any purple rain, yes, probably purple rain. If there's any suspicion of rigged elections, then yes, it would lead to civil unrest and
I think we could have civil unrest. I really do.
But our elections are very secure. We still use paper ballots, and I think that is going to help. That's going to help. You know, I was a scrutineer. We all watched the paper ballots being counted.
Yeah,
DJ Play Nice, Old Man Bird gives us the one exception, which is us, which is Texas. We can secede if we wanted to. Not that we will.
Because of the republic status?
Yeah, basically.
I didn't think about that. I hate it when I misspeak like that. All right.
You're almost perfect. You're almost perfectly correct.
And hey, Daniel's Hot Topics. Hello.
Hello, Daniel.
Ooh. And Susan Dolan says William Shakespeare Spielberg, another great guitarist, was Edgar Winters? Frankenstein. I have no idea who Edgar Winters is.
But you know the song Frankenstein, right?
No.
It's an instrumental. Yeah.
No, I'm going to look it up right after this stream, though. No, I've never heard of it.
It's like 7-9 minutes. It's a long track.
Holy shit.
Split 45. Yeah, it was A and B sides of a 7-inch.
No, and they didn't like doing that because of radio play. They really didn't like the longer songs, did they?
You're right.
Yeah. I remember Dire Straits had a live version of Telegraph Road, and tell me you know the song, the exact song that I'm speaking of, DJ Play Nice, where Mark Knopfler goes on this unbelievable on Telegraph Road, and it's a live version, and I've never heard. My brain can't think as fast as his fingers are moving, and it's on. Do you know the one? It's 12 minutes long, and you never hear it anymore.
I do. I know the one you're talking about. Well, and for what Love Over Gold, making movies. I mean, they had like 3 albums in a row that had like maybe 6, 7 tracks. You're talking about 3, 4 songs aside. So you know, with a 5 to 6 minute average. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet off Making Movies. Yeah, 100%.
Love it.
I think that was off of Making Movies. Man, I could have you. I would like to have a conversation with you and William Shakespeare Spielberg about music for like hours sometime. And Lemon Pie. PvP, do you mind reading this from our friend Lemon Pie? Hello, PvP?
Looks like he stepped away.
Well, Jill, you're here. Do you mind reading this, please?
I was going to only have 2 beers, but Canadian Spider-Man streaming late. Now I'll have a 3rd. I hold Canadian Spider-Man responsible.
That's well, yeah. You can try and hold me responsible, but I'm I'm mobile and I'm hard to pin down on purpose. But thank you. PvP, are you? Maybe you stepped out. That's okay. And only 2 beers. Well, it's that kind of a day. So are there? I mean, do you? I'm guessing that our American friends really do not understand just how different our political system is up here in Canada, and that we really. I mean, and I've heard this more than any other time in my life. And I've heard a lot of Canadians say this, we need a First and Second Amendment. And I've heard so many Canadians say that, especially after this liberals are they're just making laws and without political discourse, without them going to Parliament, they're just passing laws. So I think a First and Second Amendment is a great idea.
That would be wonderful if you could pass that.
I mean, can you imagine, Jill, living in a country without the First and Second Amendment? What if you didn't have your First and Second Amendment rights right now?
I wouldn't feel like I could be safe because the people who would have the guns would be the criminals who don't care about amendments or laws or whatever.
But PvP and I don't have the First and Second Amendments right now. We don't have that. In fact, we can't even defend in our homes. If we defend ourselves, we go to jail.
Mm-hmm. You need a 4th Amendment too. Yeah.
What's the 4th Amendment?
Search and seizure. Search and seizure. To be secure in your papers, basically, and what you're talking about exactly. And like I'm woefully underinformed about this, so please corrections from the chat or the panel if it becomes necessary. But right now they're using an 18th century precedent that was set that was akin to the quartering of soldiers for the way they're allowing ICE to do no-knock, like entry into people's homes and businesses. Like that is completely and totally
it's not good.
Fucked.
Wow.
Like that cannot happen. Well, I mean, I don't even want to say slippery slope. That's a straight ride into the sewer. Like,
well, what about wellness checks? If someone calls the cops and to do a wellness check on you, they can just enter your residence without a warrant right now in Canada.
That's horrible.
Isn't like that's crazy. Like, or the police can just say they were doing a wellness check and just enter your house.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane. Yeah, I'm not feeling without the first. I mean, DJ, you've got your First and Second Amendments. What if you lived in Canada without a First and Second Amendment right now? How safe would you feel?
You know, the First Amendment, I don't think I would have thought of at the time. The Second Amendment was not something I was thinking about as strongly as I certainly do in the last decade when I spent the time that I did living in Canada.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do believe that I would still feel as safe and that a firearm was almost as unnecessary as I did back then if I were to be there now, kind of thing. But it's a completely different world. I mean, you get to live in a place that I have such a deep appreciation for the kind of people that I met every day. And these were very working class folk. I mean, I lived on Malcolm Island. I lived in Sointula. And
don't even know where that is.
All the way up in the channel, second to the last ferry stop you can make on Vancouver Island.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've never been up that far north.
Oh, dude, it's so great. Anyhow, I don't want to tell you how great your own country is, but I don't know
There's
what I would do now,
nobody
man.
up there.
That is such a good goddamn question, because now, I mean, within reach, I have three handguns within reach right now. Well, that's not the way it always is, but I usually have one within several feet of me, and I don't leave the house without one.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I would feel about that, man. I mean, like, seriously, Steve, I got to think about that. Like, that's a dome scraper for me.
Well,
And
I
I'm
don't
glad that
want.
you posed it, because I don't want to be just so one-sided in my considerations of these things, because I have told you yourself and other of my Canadian friends, yeah, dudes, you got to get the guns thing back. You got to get that back.
We do.
And I don't like how that puts
Hey, Greek
that
fighters.
opinion puts me at odds with, it puts that, my opinion in that way puts me at odds with far too many people, I feel. Way too hot button in the States. I'm not saying it's any different in Canada, but I just haven't spent enough time on the topic or in discussion with those who really know. You're the one with the feet in the street. So I'd be relying on you and others for the formation of my further opinion in that regard. But
Man,
I don't
since-
know that
yeah.
I don't know I could give it up. I pass it back to you by saying I don't know if I could give it up now. I think I could. I wouldn't want to, but
It has
would I?
It
become.
wouldn't be our choice, would it?
I don't have. I mean,
I know what you're saying.
I have a shotgun in my room, but it's for, honestly, it's not for people. It's for bears. Like, if I'm cooking meat in my kitchen and a bear comes in after I'm done supper, like at night, I've got to have a shotgun ready there to go. So it's not for defense of people, but I don't like after what I witnessed in Ottawa during the truckers convoy, and after what I witnessed, the absolute control that the government had over the Canadian people during the lockdowns, I honestly think the population, the people, need guns to protect themselves against the government. And I cannot believe I'm saying that. I can't believe I'm saying that, but
It's true, though.
I'm a student of history. I know history, and that's exactly why we need the gun. The people of the country should have every, unless you're a convicted criminal, but I'm an innocent man. I haven't done anything. I'm an upstanding citizen. I should have every right to any firepower my government has. Why should the government have more firepower than I have? No. They're the ones that are going to sink into corruption. History shows they're the ones that are gonna seek total control and to subjugate the rest of us. That's the problem, and that's my opinions on guns has completely changed 180 degrees in the last 10 years. And absolutely, after the what I witnessed with Canadian police officers who looked like military personnel. Their names were covered. Their badge numbers were covered in black. They had ski masks. They had riot helmets. They had fully automatic machine guns. They had bulletproof gear everywhere. And those were police, and they were sent against Canadian citizens who didn't have a single gun. They didn't have a single weapon. They had bouncy castles and balloons and Canadian flags. And when I saw that, every hair on the back of my neck went up. Every red flag went up. Anything that I've ever witnessed in history. I've been to Germany. I've been to Tokyo. I've been to Poland. I've been to Auschwitz. I've seen all of this. Everything sent up red signal flares. And I think the Canadian people have every right to have. I want the guns. I don't want Trudeau to have the guns. Fuck no. And I never thought that way. And I can't believe I'm thinking this way now, but I trusted in the government, and now I realize that is naive, and that is how people lose their freedom. And I don't believe I'm saying that, but that is the situation we're in now.
I understand a portion of the incredulity that you're expressing there, man, and I feel in a similar fashion here in the States. But I have the privilege. I'd say it's a privilege, but it's a right. That was a slip for sure. So I don't know. I wish that I had like silver bullet. I wish I had a silver bullet solution for this, man. I really don't want it ever. I never want to see armed clashes. None. I don't want any. I certainly don't want them between people and police. Now, by the time it gets to people versus a military,
Wow.
that to me is a different thing. That's revolution. And the whole idea that
Thanks, Carlos.
people suggest every time there's a new wave of legislation, if we allow people to have these firearms, there's going to be blood in the streets. When was the last time there was blood in the streets? I'm
Right.
not saying that it's not going to, that it's not a possibility. Certainly, everything is possible. It's within the realm, but that doesn't, and we have to deal in more absolutes like things in the Constitution, like the First and the Second, in
Yeah.
order to have the ability to prevent exactly the kind of thing that you're talking about being subject to. And you know what, Spidey, it's one of these things. No human being has the right and should not be granted the privilege to tell another human being that they cannot defend their own lives.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
But our government does that. Our
Yeah.
government says that. In your own home, you do not have the right to defend yourself. You have to call the police. And PvP remembers this. The Toronto police, I swear to God that you can find this. This is online. The Toronto police, there were so many break-ins where people were getting their cars robbed from their houses, and people were getting held up in their houses and their lives being threatened to get their car keys. The Toronto police put out a public statement saying, people of Toronto, please leave your car keys at your front door, inside your entryway, so that if people break into your house, they can just grab the keys and take your car so they don't go up after you. That's an official recommendation by the Toronto police. Like, wrap your head around that.
Oh, that's awful. And the closest thing that we have to that is in California, where they say keep your cars unlocked in case people want to steal your stuff or your car.
That's exactly the same.
Because then it's gonna be destroyed anyway.
Right.
And that's a ridiculous way to live. That's like
isn't
laying down, rolling over.
How about the police do their jobs? Hi, Sephram from.
Yeah, that just encourages the criminals
shall not be infringed. Those are the four most important words, I think, in the American Constitution, in my opinion, my limited opinion. Thou shall not be infringed. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed upon. So fortunate that your forefathers put that in your Constitution.
Me too. I'm glad for all the amendments. It's all good stuff.
And Jill, do you mind reading this from our friend? We're going to wrap it up here real quick. Do you mind reading this, please, Jill?
Sure. William Shakespeare in the chat says, to Susan Dolan, I took a brief break to go listen to Frankenstein. I forgot it has that insane solo around the 3-minute mark. That song will live forever.
Nice. Excellent, William Shakespeare. Theft is legal. Well, it is in Canada, to some degrees. Hey,
it's not
good to see you,
legal. It should be stopped. Police are supposed to be here to serve and protect the people.
Well, you think so?
And not subjugate them like a military service, as Spidey was saying.
And do not have to do that. Do not do that. Most departments don't even have that as part of their policy. And they have, oh, wow. Yeah, the division that I think that is the most egregious is that they, under the color of law, like they, and preemption. So there are two things. I want to hit preemption really quick because I don't remember who the comment was, but the shall not be infringed thing, until you have preemption. And I'll give you an example from my home state. And that is, in the state of Nebraska, no one is supposed to be able to restrict your ability to carry a firearm. Yet, the two largest cities, Omaha and Lincoln, both have ordinances that don't allow open carry. And we also, until last year, they required licensing to carry concealed. So there are in every state, there's the potential for these things to exist. And in each city, in almost every state, there's the potential for that sort of thing to exist. So while it shall not be infringed, and you think that the Constitution is going to be, I mean, it's federal, it's, it's founding fathers. How could that be? That's inviolable, right? No, it's violated all the damn time. If I step outside of, I'm crashing at a friend's place. If I step outside with my sidearm exposed, they can arrest me And I have a license because I gained the license to carry concealed before the law was changed. But just the fact that we had to change it. And the thing that really grinds my gears about this is that the state of Nebraska's Constitution, the first amendment, the first, after the preamble, the first statement in our state Constitution is about essentially the Second Amendment, but it extends the rights beyond that, which are granted federally. So it's like double whammy state for me when it came to all this, all these years of work that I put in trying to, red flag is the only thing we have left that keeps rearing its ugly head. And there are examples of that right now that, that'd be sidetracking the conversation, which I did. So I got to pass it back. More wood on the fire.
Thank you. More fire.
That was completely relevant. Thank you, DJ. We have open carry here, and I could walk down the street with a batleth in Texas. If I
That
wanted to.
rocks. You should.
I should.
Absolutely.
I need to get one.
So many of the older Canadians here are perfectly happy just let the police have all the guns. But do you know how hard it is to carry a policeman around in your pocket? That was
exactly. No, I know what you're saying. You've got to be able to defend yourself because it's going to take a while for the policeman to get to the situation, and the criminal may be long gone. You might have been already violated by the time they even get there.
Well, exactly, and I don't want to be violated. No, I'd prefer not to be violated. Seraphim says, defending oneself is a natural right regardless of politics. You're absolutely correct.
And Seraphim, thank you for putting it that way. I challenge people to say that it's a natural right rather than a God-given right, because I didn't need to be getting into discussions where people, the distinction being made there is obvious, but it's like, take religion out of it, please. Like let's remove that from the conversation. And I get it's kind of people default to it's my God-given right, my God-given whatever thing. It's like, okay, well, in my estimation, God didn't give me shit. I've earned everything, or it was given to me by other beings or people or what entities. So yeah, I appreciate that distinction.
And is this true? Lemon Pie in the chat says Jill carries a Gatling gun to the ice cream shop after a prior incident. Oh dear.
Lemon Pie is referring to an incident one time when I was taking my son to an ice cream shop, a Mexican ice cream shop, to reward him for something. I don't remember. And this lady, I don't know if she was homeless or what was wrong with her, but she had matted purple hair. And I didn't know who she was, but she sat at my table and said, "Sorry, I'm late," and started talking some weird nonsense to me. Fortunately, at this moment, my son was in the bathroom. And so I was trying to separate myself from this person. And so I talked to her. I was nice to her and everything. And then she says, "I need all of your stuff." And then I basically just gave her my son's ice cream. And then I backed away from the table. And just at that time, my son came back and she started yelling at him, saying, "Sit down," or whatever. I don't know what she was saying to my son. And it was frightening. No, I just left. I left.
Yeah.
I left. I had already paid and everything. No, there was nobody behind the counter. I don't know where anybody even was.
So yes, now Lemon Pie, Jill has a Gatling gun mounted to the hood of her SUV.
And so now I carry a Gatling gun. Not really, but I should.
Jeez. Yes, you need a little policeman in your pocket. If you have a gun, you become your own policeman. That is true. Absolutely. And Kronos, I don't want to question you too much on this. I'm just going to take you at your word. Let's just leave that in your pants. DVB says, "I see him in the rear view. Maybe we should put him in a jar." Oh, the little policeman. Yes. I heard Tennessee has an open carry law too. What about Tennessee? I know they have some good whiskey. And DVB, hello and welcome to you.
Yeah, more than 40 states do. Top of my head, the 4 states that don't: California, Florida, Illinois, New York. And almost everybody else does.
how do they override the constitution? Isn't it your constitutional right to carry, though? Like, how do they override that? I don't get it.
Preemption. Again, it's the preemption thing that I was mentioning, where you can introduce it so that it's limited. And it's like,
and,
and
what
it comes down to is that keep and bear portion. So you keeping it, but does bear mean to bear it outside of your garment or to carry it into action? And it's best not to try and get into some discussion using 18th century terms, even though many of them transcend any era. Because people would just, it ends up being, it mucks it up. It gets really convoluted when you start trying to break it down in that way. Just understand that it exists, and it's going to vary from state to state, the whys and the hows they do it. I mean, I'm just learning a bunch of extra stuff about Texas tonight. So viva Texas.
Viva Texas, you're right. The more, I can't. So they're passing, is it Bill C-69? I think it's C-69, don't go. But anyway, they're the Liberals, should they get into power again, one of the things they're going to pass is an internet harms bill. And anything that they name it, the Internet Safety and Harms Bill, whatever it's named, it's actually going to have the opposite effect. It's not going to protect anyone. Basically, if anyone accuses you of saying something racist online, the government come in, check your hardware, check your devices, and impose whatever restrictions up to incarceration for what you may have posted or what you might post. So we're entering you might potentially commit a crime in the future, so we're going to penalize you now. That is
understand how that works. That sounds insane. Is that like from the Minority Report?
That's exactly with Tom Cruise. That's exactly. It is unbelievable, and that this isn't in the news, that this isn't being debated. Canadians are so preoccupied with Orange Man bad. I mean, anyone above the age of 50 is so preoccupied with Orange Man bad that they don't realize just what's happening in our own country. I mean, if you ask most Canadians, I bet you they don't know that our parliament has been suspended since September of 2024. My member of parliament, who is my voice in the government, has not had a voice since September of 2024 because it's been prorogued, it's been locked down, it's been shut down. Right now, the Liberal government, they wouldn't hand over documents that would incriminate a lot of their own ministerial people, their own government people. They're not handing over governments to the RCMP. So our parliament has said, okay, well, you're not allowed to do any more government business until you hand over those documents to the RCMP. That was in September. So the Liberals wouldn't hand them over. So our government has been stalled. No government business has taken place since September because they won't hand over the documents to the RCMP because they know that some of their people are going to go to jail. This is our own government. This is what's happening in Canada. We haven't had, my member of parliament hasn't had a voice since September. And you ask your typical Canadian if they're even aware of that. They don't even know that. They're not even aware that we haven't had a democracy since September in actual fact. Unbelievable. Why isn't this even in the news? Did you guys know about this, that Canada, we haven't had an active parliament since September, Jill?
All I know is Scotty says you don't even have a leader. As far as I know, I mean, I know there's that person that they say is doing stuff, but that's not a leader. That person's not elected.
We didn't have an ATF director since Obama. Like they just didn't have one for the grip. And you were talking about how the bill, they're going to have this bill, and it's going to be, there'll be lots of things couched within it. That happens in the States all the time. The most recent one, the name of the act was Protecting Our Kids Act. It's an omnibus bill that just slashed and burned all kinds of gun rights. Who wants to argue? Who's going to try and argue against or would think that they should vote against something called the Protecting Our Kids Act? And when you're talking about things that are trying to like closing the the bump stock loophole, like loophole is used several times in anti-gun legislation. There is no loophole. It's either legal or it's not, kind of thing. And of all the things, and it's only because, and I'm going to transition back to you with this, is because I know how big a fan you are of Die Hard. Do you know it was that silly, shitty, fictional porcelain gun that makes it through everything from that very film that has fucked up so much for us because people believe it's real. They believe that the Glock that's invisible.
Is it not real?
No, not at all.
Shit, I thought that was real.
Completely phony, completely fake, dude. Yeah, but there you go. And I'm not saying that you're stupid for believing that. You know, I'm just saying like lots of people do believe that. And when I say no, look it up, bro. They don't exist. And they kind of do want it like a double take like you, just like, for real? So I didn't need to be worried about terrorists sneaking guns on the plane. No, did anybody ever do it? It was in a movie that's like, what, 30 years old now? Come on, guys. Yeah.
That is crazy.
And ghost guns, that's another, these terms that are coined, these phrases that are used to like either intentionally or perhaps in some cases not, to just scare people or confuse them. And to beleaguer the rights, by the end of the day, all it does is beleaguer the rights, and people who try to champion them or change them.
Absolutely, it does.
For the good, yeah.
Man, I in order to get on a plane here, we're gonna have to give like a DNA sample here pretty soon. It's crazy, and it is. It's just it doesn't add to the safety, but it certainly infringes upon people's rights. That's for sure. Squirrels are not covered by the Second Amendment. Really? Huh. Well, they needed better representatives, I guess.
Oh, I think he's talking about Peanut and Fred, who got killed.
My holy shit. Did that affect your election or what? I bet it did. Yeah, I'm still upset about Peanut. I want those guys to go to jail.
Yeah, me too. Those animals didn't need to be killed.
No, absolutely not. Good to see you, Greek letters. And yes, Tiger Stripes, thank you for being back. Appreciate that. Daniel's Hot Topic says, it is so corrupt. The world is getting worse. This country is getting worse. I don't trust the police anymore. Well, two of those statements are correct. However, the world is not getting worse by many metrics. There's a whole bunch of things that are much better in the world right now than ever before in history. Starvation is under control. Famine is under control. Droughts are under control. Disease, death at childbirth is under control. I see what you're saying down in those hot topics, but overall, pretty good time in history to be alive. We don't have saber-toothed tigers trying to chew our bones. And Jill, do you mind reading this possibly controversial take from Tiger Stripes?
Oh, well, she's right about Austin, at least. Texas ain't all that. Austin is super liberal, and Texas is so huge. There's not much continuity from county to county. Right, we do have different laws and different things going on in each and every county. Don't get me started on toll roads. And toll roads, toll roads are a pain in the butt, but you can set your maps on Google to avoid the tolls, but then you have to drive a little more. Yeah, there are some problems, of course, like anywhere.
Yeah, well, Daniels, don't share anything you don't. Absolutely.
Sorry about that, Daniel. Hope you're okay.
Dear. Lemon Pie says, raising my eyebrows is all I've come up with on how to flirt with a lady. If anyone in history has come up with something better, let me know. That's a good one.
Well, the Fonz said you should go to the supermarket and bump carts into the chicks that you wanted to pick up.
And the Fonz knew what he was talking about.
I don't know about that. I don't know to play bumper cars.
Minority Report.
Unless you can make it look like an accident.
This is true. This is very true, and history teaches us this. Dionysius Larson, Greek letter, says, remember, folks, if you allow your government to overcome your rights due to a crisis, then the government will and does create a crisis to overcome your rights. Absolutely.
Genius statement. The Patriot Act.
Absolutely.
The
Yep.
Patriot
Right.
Act was the worst. I mean, there have been some bad ones since, but yeah, that's the prime example of what Greek Letter said right there.
Yep.
And it happened.
Spock could rise
People were
his
so willing to give up, their freedoms for a little, a sense of security or comfort or whatever, distance from danger, and it nothing changed except your rights. That's wow.
Is it not Benjamin Franklin that said people who will exchange their freedom for a little bit of safety will end up with neither?
Neither, yeah, something like that.
And deserve and end up with neither. There you go. Okay. Jill, do you want to read this from a lady's perspective here?
Tiger Stripes tells Lemon Pie, I can only divulge a trick or two for women. They used to work back in the day when I was young.
Raising your eyebrows, I bet, is one of them. Definitely. And The Rock can absolutely raise his eyebrow. Yeah, just like Spock. Democracy is
Bones
mob
was
rule.
good at it too, really.
He was. Yes, Bones was. That's the difference with a republic. See, a republic will stick out for the minority rights. But, Lemon Pie, Tiger Stripes demonstrating some flirting techniques to Lemon Pie. Looks into the eyes, drops gaze, count 1, 2, 3, meets eyes again. Ooh, wow, you're describing my junior high school days, Tiger Stripes. Wow. Lemon Pie says Canada's parliament isn't active. May I suggest yoga and daily walks? Well, daily walks long walks off a short pier for our parliamentarians. Yes.
And bran muffins.
I don't know. What do you two think about, or PvP if you're there? What do you think about Justin Trudeau being son of Fidel Castro? I bet it's true. I believe it. Maybe.
I really don't know for sure, but he's definitely taking some. If he's not directly related, he's definitely taking some tips from him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Lemon Pie says, Tiger, that worked. Chrono says, eyes up here, Tiger. DJ, do you mind reading this, please, from our friend?
Tiger Stripes says, but that's all new speak, a la 1984, when protect our kids means brainwash them to be gender confused and then lop off their junk after 5 years on hormones.
True.
Oh, yeah, that's horrifying.
Phantom guns. Yeah. The Phantom had 2 pistols. Did the Phantom in the purple, did he not have 2 revolvers? I think he did have 2 revolvers. The Phantom out of Australia. Down this hot topic says, we live in a country where police verbally abuse and harass civilians, but if a civilian returns the favor and says to the cop, you're an idiot, then the cop can say you're under arrest. Yes, because might makes right. Sadly, even today, the people with the guns get to say what happens.
Is Daniel in the States or in Canada? Because you can say whatever you want to a cop. It's first.
You can, and they are not supposed to arrest you, but in Canada, they fucking will arrest you. They absolutely will, and then they can say, "Oh, I'm sorry" later. Yeah, absolutely. They're not supposed to. It's supposed to be illegal, but we are so gun shy of cops now. It's crazy. After the last 10 years, I don't even recognize my own country anymore. I used to want to be a cop, but now I can't believe I'm saying this. I have negative opinions towards most cops, and I can't believe I'm saying that. That's not right. It shouldn't be that way, but that is from what I've seen over the last, living in Canada the last 20 years. Living in Victoria. I lived in Victoria, which is the capital of British Columbia. There's a lot of homeless people there because it is the warmest city in Canada. So naturally, a lot of people escaping winter move to Victoria for the cold, and they sleep out in the streets. And I've seen time after time, walking downtown every day, the police harassing and abusing the homeless people, like literally abusing their power. And if a civilian will go up and try and ask the cops what they're doing, the civilian gets arrested and gets in trouble. It is, and I've seen that with my own eyes. It's maddening Tiger Stripe says, Kronos, all eyes on me. Wacky, eh? To which I say, thanks, but no thanks. Yee, hard pass. Playing hard to get. Hey, Tiger Stripe. All ladies, they love to do the hard to get. I gotta say. Kronos says, squirrel. I think they're all sleeping now, buddy. Jill, do you mind? We're going to wrap this up here pretty quick. Do you mind reading this, please?
Tommy says, when they can't scare people into giving up rights through normal terminology, they use new made-up terms to frighten people. And unfortunately, people are very easily confused and frightened. As DJ was saying, it wasn't even just for the pandemic. People were frightened that toilet paper was going to disappear from the planet.
Oh my goodness, that's true. And cops can verbally abuse a civilian, but the civilian has to be careful around a cop. It's not legally supposed to be that way, but unfortunately, people are so scared and so eager to advocate their rights to authority nowadays. Like back in the day, you would have had people standing up saying, whoa, back the fuck up, what are you doing? But now people are so conditioned to just forfeit their rights to authority. It's crazy. Tiger is distracting all your mail chat. Yes, well, she does that. That yes.
One of my favorite sci-fi authors is Philip K. Dick. And one of my favorite Philip K. Dick quotes is, if you can control the meaning of words, you can control the people who just use them.
Bingo.
You got a smart crowd out there, man. I dig this chat. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for
this is one of our
range as wide as it has.
Man, the chat is always smart, and this is one of our smartest. Do you mind reading William Shakespeare?
Says, I did a major party foul. Jimmy Page, Keith Richards. Those guys are also in my top 10 guitarists of all time. We still talking about guitars? Well, I am.
We will always take time out to talk about guitarists. Always. Tiger Stripes, good point. Daniel's Hot Topics, she says, I'm not so sure you should have trusted the police to start with. Sad to say. I'm sad to say that too, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I grew up being a friggin' Boy Scout, but that is what it's like today. Oh, I meant Susan Dolan's attack owls, sorry, not squirrels. Okay, that makes sense. She does have the attack owl in for Doomcock.
You know, Spidey, I think that one of the things that would, in a couple of heartbeats, solve a lot of the police issue that we have in the States, and maybe it would be similar in Canada, is no qualified immunity for cops. No deprivation of rights under the color of law. There's just like no way, like can't. There's no get out of jail free card. If you fuck up, you fucked up.
They have to adhere to the law to a higher standard than we do, even.
Like it to be that way, wouldn't we?
Right on.
Frankly. Yep. Ooh, and William Shakespeare is adding George Harrison and John Lennon while he's at it, and he doesn't care who disagrees with him. I didn't know John Lennon was that much of a guitarist, but I could be ignorant. Time cops would suck. Well, we've got them right now in Canada because they'll go back through your Facebook and social posts, just like in the UK. And yeah, there you go. We do leave in the year 1984. Sleep tight now. Well, thanks, Greek letters.
That's exactly what I was thinking when DJ Plain Nice was mentioning the Philip K. Dick quote. That also reminded me of 1984. For sure.
I did not
crimes.
Know. Seraphim, that is sickening. Abortion is infanticide. 1 baby per second worldwide. Wow.
And double speak.
Swift -1 says, Taylor Swift for president 2028. Third party. If seriously would make that happen if I could. Are you crazy? That's not the 1984 playbook or anyone's playbook. That would reunite. Well, you know what? She certainly... Yeah, I mean, she's not in anyone's pocket, I don't think. That'd be an interesting ride.
I think that it might create a greater divide. I think that it would be worse than the middle of the 19th century here. I think we would have brother fighting brother.
Now, Tiger Stripes is talking about John Entwistle, who I've heard the name. I don't know John Entwistle.
The bass player for the Who, and Pete Townsend was a guitar player.
Oh, I don't know the members of the Who other than Pete Townsend and
Roger Daltrey's going to be playing Omaha's like Salute to Summer thing this summer. Like, when did he start doing the solo trip like that? I mean, I know he does gigs occasionally as a solo art, but like without,
I think he's asleep.
Like, come on.
And Susan Dolan says William Shakespeare, add Prince to that list. Hey, I might agree with that. There's a video on YouTube where George Harrison Jr. got a bunch of musicians to play While My Guitar Gently Sleeps, and Prince was awesome. I believe that. And I want to say hello again to Rusty Rivers, who is a friend, Seraphim. We both hang out in the same circle. So thanks for being here, both of you gentlemen. We do have a small campfire going. We were discussing various things about Canadian politics throughout the night. Joey Ramone, yes, that probably needs to be, that name needs to be said. But yeah, I think we're going to try and wrap it up here. Basically, there's a lot of things going on in Canada that I bet American counterparts and friends don't know. Like, you didn't know that Canadians can just be debanked. The government can tell Canadian banks, hey, shut that guy's bank account down, and they just do it without a court injunction. That's the important thing to understand here. There was no judge that said they could do that. The government the Liberal Party just called up the bank, and the bank said, okay, we'll shut down Megan Murphy's bank account right now. As the day that she signed up and was running for the People's Party of Canada, the PPC, that's not a coincidence. So yeah, that's happening. I mean, really, holy shit, we're not a democracy at that point. I would like to be invaded by a stronger country and restore our democracy. Let's have it. Bring it on. If the States invades Canada right now, a lot of Canadians are going to be making fucking sandwiches for the soldiers coming over our borders. Like, welcome, here, have a bed, have some maple syrup, have some poutine. Thank you for bringing back our freedom. Trudeau is a lady man. Yeah, agreed. Fidel Castro was a ladies man. Trudeau is a lady man. Yeah. Okay, Tommy, you know what I'm talking about. Phantom, the purple. He rode a horse, and he never died. And he had 2 guns. He's an Australian superhero, I believe. Tiger Stripe says, when you look at Justin, NPR, and Castro, it's like the Sesame Street song. One of these things is not like the other. Yeah. Pierre Trudeau does not look like Justin or Castro. That's true. And
I hope you guys get a chance to have Pierre.
I really hope so. Holy shit. Okay, stop typing in the chat, folks. We're trying to go to bed here. My goodness. It's great to have this 15 people watching or more. Jill, do you mind reading this, please?
Daniel's Hot Topic says in the chat, and this is a really messed up story. Oh, what the hell. A few years ago, I was crying. I couldn't stop because I was so lonely, and I'm tired of seeing other guys with girls. And for some reason, I can't get any. Anyway, I couldn't stop.
Every guy goes through that, man. Every guy goes through that.
Yeah, he was having a hard time, and it gets worse. The story gets worse.
Oh dear. I'm a citizen.
This is a citizen. Good news.
Daniel's Hot Topics. Getting a girlfriend isn't that hard. Do you go to conventions, or do you have a hobby, or share? Those are good suggestions.
Yeah, that's what I tell people too, is conventions. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Daniel continues. Someone, I won't say who, someone couldn't stand hearing me cry, so this idiot called the cops. They called the effing cops. Before I knew it, I was swarmed with cops, and they were calling me names.
Wow.
Who calls the cops on somebody for crying? Unless they're screaming or something.
A wellness check,
you weren't
or
screaming,
who knows?
Daniel. I mean, in a public place, you weren't being disruptive. If you're just quietly crying to yourself, that's nobody's business but your own.
And then 6 men with guns show up to your door. That's a little scary. Yeah. William Shakespeare in the chat says, Tiger Stripes, absolutely Pete Townsend. This top 10 list is going to have 50 people. Well, yeah, it's good. You haven't heard of Entwistle? Well, there you go. The Who. That was an obscure remark about Kanye. He just gets weirder every day. Okay, deeply, deeply weirder. Yeah, Kanye West, yeah. Well, West Cagle as well. The same thing with West Cagle. We love you, West. I sent a link to West Cagle, but he must be sleeping. Tiger Stripes says, what? Who do you think was playing lead guitar on bass while Pete was playing rhythm guitar, if not John Entwistle? To William Shakespeare. And Kronos likes being distracted. DJ Play Nice, do you mind reading this from our friend Rusty Rivers?
Rusty says, when a cop pulls me over, it's always a big deal. They won't approach me until 2 other cops show up, and they always have their guns drawn, walking up to my vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Depends on, well, they do that. Daniel's Hot Topic says, the fucking cops were harassing me. The cop on the front was telling me that I was going to die alone, and the cop behind was laughing his head off, and I was in shock. I could not say anything. Holy shit. See, if this was on camera, they would all be losing their jobs right now. Yes, Kronos,
They should. They should. That's not their job to go around bullying people. That is bonkers.
Ooh. Prince was shredded. He was in my very first initial post of favorite guitars tonight. That is right. You did have Prince in there, William Shakespeare. And Daniel's, Jill, do you mind continuing with what Daniel has to say?
Daniel says, I should have told those effers to F off, but my dad keeps telling me there is a law in Canada that says cops can abuse civilians, but a civilian can't even tell a cop to F off. Was this really in your home? Or, I mean,
Wow.
Either way, whether it was in your home or in a public place, it's wrong, but it's even worse if it was at home.
No kidding. That is nuts. Absolutely. Especially if it's in your home. 100%. And I want to say hello to Will Radioactive. Hi, good to have you here.
And I want to say to Daniel, bro, like, you are an articulate dude. I've seen you lots of different places, remarking intelligently on things and engaging people, and that means that you have people skills, man. I don't know where your problem with women might be at all, but I don't think you have. I mean, you're a solid cat. I've never met you.
I would agree.
I hope I'm not like overstating too much here, and I'm not trying to shine you on either, dude. I'm not making that shit up. Like, you're an articulate cat. Like, you got some stuff straight, man. So
True,
I hope
he's
that
always very positive.
I hope all of that shit is behind
cop
rear view, man.
I hope so too. I hope the best for you, Daniel. And you're always very positive about everyone else, and it hopefully things get better. Hello, can anyone? I can't hear anything.
I can hear you. I couldn't hear Steve there for a minute, though.
Oh, okay. I thought it was my fault. That's why I left and I refreshed. I thought the problem was on my end. So none of us can hear Spidey, even though we can see his lips moving.
Now, are you faking us out, man? Because we can't hear you.
I wish we could hear you. You've been on fire tonight, Spidey. I've been enjoying the stream very much.
He's like, fuck, 1 minute. Just 1 minute, please. Sorting out headphones and the like.
Yes. And hopefully tomorrow he can sort out his country. Also.
Still don't got you, Spidey. Still don't have you.
No, we're still waiting to hear from you. We're still waiting.
1 more minute.
We're still waiting to hear from you. So Okay, so he's gonna probably do that. Well, in other news, DJ Plain Eyes told me in the private chat, which I think was interesting, just nothing to do with Canada or anything, but Towel Day is May 25th. Is that seriously
That's real. Yeah.
Is that a real holiday for hitchhikers?
Yeah.
Neat. I didn't know that existed.
No, Spidey. Sorry.
No, so
we can read your lips, bro. That's how we know what you're saying. One more time.
Yeah, you just cut off at some point. I don't know what you want to say. I wish I could hear you. Poor Spidey, says Kronos.
Okay.
Let's hope the mic didn't melt, says Lemon Pie.
Okay, so he
Your
jacked in
lips.
his USB.
Oh, William Shakespeare is quoting Pink Floyd. Your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying.
You're still trying, Spidey, but we're still not getting you, man.
Tommy says, Spidey, unplug your mic and plug it back in.
I think we saw him do that.
Yeah, I think he did do that. I think he did that, and he did just what I did, which was to refresh the page. Because I thought I was the trouble for some reason, because Spidey went quiet, and I thought it was me for somehow, or my headphones went out. Matt G says, I asked a far-left feminist about Swift being president, and believe it or not, they did not like the idea. Called her a little white woman feminist, and she's a billionaire. Well, that last one does sound like a interesting. Oh, well, that sounds kind of racist, though. That to point out her race like that. Weird. And she's got too much money, apparently. The wall around the labyrinth. Wait, I think I heard something. Was that Spidey? No.
That was probably me chuckling. Sorry.
Oh, that was you. No. Okay. No. Did he drop something? Is that why you're laughing? I wasn't looking there.
Well, it appears to be in good nick, man. It should work, right?
Yeah, Corona says The Wall. Yes, that's the album. Well, Lemon Pie says, well, Canadian Spider-Man did say he wants to end the stream. So.
And Tommy's out there giving you some good advice. If you got another USB port, try a different port.
Oh, yeah.
And you have, yeah.
USB port. It's happened to me. The USB port suddenly died. Change the port. Wow, that was a great idea. I wouldn't have thought of that one.
Yeah, jump out, jump in usually resolves that stuff with StreamYard and Discord.
Yeah, I think he did that.
Resets, yeah. A couple of times now he has. You poor son of a bitch.
Lemon Pie says liberals love billionaires as long as they are liberal billionaires. Tommy says, oh yeah, the USB port. Change the USB port. Yep. And then, but Tiger Stripe says, no, they don't. To Lemon Pie, think Elon. Them liberals turn on you like a dime. Yeah, that's true. That did happen. Case in point there.
I like what Murdoch has to say. If a Spidey falls in the forest, will anybody hear it? Nice rip.
And Murdoch, that's his brother. That's Spidey's brother. So, can't hear you, darling Steve, says Tiger. William Shakespeare says, if you're using Windows, check the well, he can't hear me now, so maybe I'll read that later when he gets back. If you're using Windows, check the audio icon, and you might be able to switch to the built-in laptop microphone. Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Jiggle
like just cord. Anything so that he can end the stream.
Control-Alt-Delete.
Greek letters Larson. or Dionysus Larson, if you prefer, says, "This is like a Twilight Zone episode. A live stream that won't end." Oh. Tiger Stripe says, "Turn it off and on." It wasn't long enough for him to turn it off and on. Tiger Stripe then says, "Shut the door." Well,
No.
wait a minute. Or jiggle the handle. Jiggle
Sorry.
the cord.
Hands are going up on that one. You have given it a more than valiant effort, my man. For sure, for sure.
William Spielberg says, if you're using Windows, check the audio icon in the lower right-hand corner. You might be able to switch to the built-in laptop microphone. Or what we could do, Spidey, if you want to end the stream, type in the private chat what you want me to say to end the stream, and then you can end it. And I'll read it for you.
Out there in the text chat, he does say, "I think that is it for the night."
Well, yeah, but just in case he wants to have the live stream have like some dialogue, he can type some for me, and I'll read it. Oh, what are we? Oh, okay. He wants to know what everybody's promoting. DJ, is there anything you want to share before we leave?
I want to say we've dropped some links for lots of channels out there in the text chat. If there's somebody that you see that you aren't sub to, part of the community is helping each other's channels get stronger and to grow. And there's lots of great opinions out there. I really enjoyed the chat. Spidey, thank you for hosting very, very much. You've given me more to think about than a lot of my American friends. You in one evening now, in several hours, are giving me more to think about than a lot of my American friends have for a couple of months now. Election fatigue, definitely over. And I would like everybody out there to know, if you're in crisis or you know somebody who is, dial 988 or 1-800-273-TALK. If you don't want to talk, you can text the word TALK, T-A-L-K, to 741-741, and you can get assistance there. In Canada, you also get to dial 988. In the UK, 0800-689-5652. In Australia, hit 13 11 14. You can get assistance locally through all of those numbers wherever you are. Until I see everybody else again, be safe, have fun, take care of yourself and your crew, and rock. I'm out.
I want to echo that. Thank you so much for this stream. Like you said, I don't know as much about Canadian politics as I do my own politics, and so it's good to touch base with the international community, especially our neighbors up in the north. And I hope the best for your country tomorrow. And as you say in the chat, promotions. Yeah, I have a channel too. My name is the same as my channel name. And so check me out Tuesdays, Fridays, 11 a.m. Central. But that's all I really want to say about that. I really appreciated this stream. It was really fantastic. I'm sorry your microphone went out, but you do want to wrap it up, and you say, "I think that is it for the night. Please, let's everyone hope that Canada chooses freedom tomorrow." And I hope everyone has a wonderful night.